Hello, 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 hello. It is. What is it? It's Monday. Another day, another week, another stream. Welcome, Mr. Fancy Nasty. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you've been. Maybe that's not a good thing to be nasty with the weekend. Maybe it is. Hope you had a great weekend. Either way. And today we're gonna do the next episode, let's say, or the next part. No, I think part is different. Yeah, let's say episode. The next episode of the new project that I like to call follow along sculpting or follow along sculpting tutorial, whatever you want to call it. Where we're gonna sculpt a character today. Last week we covered the basics of the face, and then we also sculpted Ryu from Street Fighter. And as you can see right there, today what we're gonna do is we're gonna sculpt Neon from Valorant. Wait, did I say Neon before? Ryu from Street Fighter last week, and today we're gonna do Neon from Valorant. Welcome, Tala Reyes. Hope you enjoyed your Monday too. Maybe even your weekend, you know. Yep. So we're gonna go, and yeah, we're not gonna go through the full character, of course. That takes a little bit longer than the time we have. We have roughly, I would say, like 2.5 hours roughly. And we're gonna do the plan is to do the face as well as the shoulders, like part of the outfit that is around her shoulders or her neck, I guess, and then of course the hair. Yeah, that's gonna be the plan for today. Of course, before we do that, we're gonna do the 30-minute quick sketch, which is just a quick, you know, sketch to warm up and to get that out of the way. You know, usually I do these every day, and when we stream, I do them on stream. So, you know, let's not waste any time. Let's go straight to Blender so we can get into the actual topic of today, which is of course the neon, of course. There you go. You can see today's reference, which is this whole sheet here. I chose this one. I think this one looks cool. So this is the quick sketch reference for today. The artist from where it is Kurt Papstein. I already grabbed, I think I used, so he uploaded, or they uploaded multiple of these sort of sketch sheets here, and I used multiple of these because they look really cool. And the link I also posted in the Discord. But if you then go on this website, on his post, it should be somewhere down here. So if you scroll down a little bit, and then you'll find this bad boy right there. And that's what we're gonna, yeah, sculpt today. 30 minutes, of course. Nothing, not more, not less. Started following you about a week or so. Love your videos and the way you explain. Learned a lot as well. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. Hope you had a great Monday too. Explain all the anatomy of the face. Well, I already explained one of them in a video, the nose. I guess you could sort of say that I sort of explained the anatomy of the face when we did the follow along sculpting sessions of the individual parts of the face, but not necessarily, I guess, the muscles and how the face is structured. When it comes to the, I guess I like to call it 3 layers: the bones, muscles, and then the fat on top. Maybe we'll do that at some point too. There's a thing that I have been searching for, but I had no luck. Oh no. If you know Bill Lillies, sometimes he makes ornaments behind the models and don't know how to sculpt them or model them, even so, do you have a method for it? Let's see. What? Villalis. Hold on. Oh. I don't know if I can click on the images on stream. Oh yeah, I actually know. I know this artist. They make cover art too. Or these may be cover art, all of them. Okay, let's see. Okay, hold on. Let me separate them and then I can show you because they're NSFW, some of them, I think. There you go. So I think for this one, it's fairly simple. The thing that you always, for these ornaments, for example, it's the same for mandalas, I think you call them, is that they usually have a pattern that they repeat over and over and over again, and usually, you know, in a circle. So for this one, what you could do is you could model either from here, from this tip here, all the way to this tip, and then you, for example, can use a, what is it called? Oh, you can use a, you could either put it, you can use a curve modifier to let it align on the curve. You can use a circle curve. Then you can put the curve modifier on it so that this model basically follows the curve. And then you can apply an array modifier so you can create an array around the entire curve, and then you can create this circle effect. I think that's how I would do it for the front part, or for the back part here, where there are these clear patterns that repeat over and over and over again. And then the other one would be the middle part. I think the middle part is just sculpted, like these organic shapes. I don't think you can really, I guess, you know, of course, I think they mirror them to the other side too, so it's mirrored from one side to the other. But I don't think there's any other stuff going on. I think that's, yeah, mostly what you can, I guess, do quickly is the back. You only really need to do one of these segments, and then you can just duplicate it or use an array modifier to repeat it over and over and over again. And then, yeah. Next time, Fighting Warrior, please. Fighting Warrior, hold on. Fighting Warrior, let's see. Is that a character? All I'm finding is random wallpapers or stock footage. Or do you mean the super old game? Because, yeah, I don't know, maybe. Okay, yeah, hopefully, maybe, yeah, that's what how I would do it. Okay, let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into the quick sketch. Yeah, I would say we can begin in 3, 2, 1, go. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so this one is actually fairly simple. The sphere is already a pretty good head shape, so we don't need to do too much more. I guess you can adjust it a little bit, of course. But let's see. So I want to have I think I want to make the head a little longer, not too much, and then go from there. We also have this. Yeah, let's adjust the head shape first. There you go. We have the mouth. I think we want to add the mouth first, and then we can go and add more. Usually what I like to do is I like to add one piece of the face immediately so that I can use that as my anchor point. So now for this one, I'm going to use the mouth, for example. Usually for my I guess more human characters, I like to use the eyes, because for the eyes you have a fairly simple way of determining the eye size for at least realistic characters, of course. I guess for stylized characters you can kind of you know, determine it yourself. So you can use eyes there too, but I like to place them first so I can sort of build everything else around it. That works quite well for me. Maybe for you doesn't, you know. Leon from Resident Evil. Oh. I actually never played Resident Evil. I think the best way for me to remember those is if you put them either in the Discord. Maybe you could put, so if you are in the Discord, you can go into the inspirations channel and you can post a like an image of the character in there, and then will definitely, or maybe even say like for the next follow along sculpting session or whatever, FA sculpting session, to so I can remember it, because my brain isn't the best when it comes to remembering stuff. So that's, I guess, the best way. Or you can also comment it, I guess, under the, yeah, I mean, the Rio video where we sculpted Rio will probably come out next week. This week we'll actually have 3 videos, the most I've ever uploaded in a week. And then next week I'll upload the next, I guess, main, what do you call it? Main sculpting follow along sculpting sessions for the face fundamentals, face parts, and then also the Rio sculpt. That's the plan, at least. I tried and I knew how to do it, but modeling the shapes itself is kind of hard because I'm new to sculpting, but I will try again. You could, so I think for the shapes what I would use, especially if they're like, they're sort of a mix between hard surface, like flowery metal pieces, I could call them. Similar, like, or you can also say like, I guess, hard surface organic pieces. That sort of contradicts itself, I guess, but what I mean is like, they are very clean in their design, but they also have these organic shapes that they sort of portray, or organic objects. And what I would use there is probably curves, because you can apply a custom profile to the curve, and then you can use that for your you can use the profile for the curve for another curve, which then has the shape of the profile, and then you can create very, very detailed organic hard surface model I guess objects or clean organic objects, something like that. So I think that's what I would use. What you're working? Do you mean what my job is in the real life? Or what I'm working on right now? Okay, this looks kind of weird. Let's see if we can adjust it a little bit. I think I need to create a little space here for the eyes, because the eyes actually point sort of forward, but also sideways, which is interesting. Yeah, every time I basically use organic objects that are supposed to look clean, similar to, for example, stylized hair, for example. You oftentimes see people use curve for them, because they have a very clean surface and they have very clean, I guess, shapes, but they still look organic, basically. So I think curve would be the best way to do it. Or you can also use another one would be to use if you look at my video, I don't remember what the name is, but something like another way to create hair or something, where you see this girl in the thumbnail eating noodles. It's like rendered in white. I explained a new way how you could make hair, basically using an edge and then applying a few modifiers like subdivision and then the skin modifier to create very organic shapes too. That could work there too. So many possibilities. Welcome, Kenji. Hope you had a great day. Hope you had a great weekend too. As you can see, we're doing a quick sketch, 30 minutes, to warm up. And then we're going to go straight to today's topic. In real life, I'm a graphic designer. So I'm doing mainly video and like animations. Some 3D, but not too much. Mostly internal. I'm working in a advertisement agency. And I mostly do video, because I'm with one other person, the only people that really can do it. And so we do it. And usually, you know, if that's not what we do, then stuff like websites. I mainly do like graphics for websites, like online banner or stuff like that. I don't necessarily design websites. That's, you know, other people can do that better than me. So I mostly do like graphics, or when it comes to, sometimes, you know, occasionally I also do stuff like, I guess, print stuff like flyers or posters or stuff like that. Okay, I want to make the neck actually smaller, because then I think that'll look a little bit better. Big head, small neck. So I think for the for Neon, the plan at least is we're gonna have roughly, if I'm done with this, we're probably gonna have like at least 2.5 hours, maybe even 3. And if you want to follow along, the last one we did, the last one, Ryu, because it was the first one, I didn't really know how long it would take. I did a little bit like very, very slow, explaining every move that I did basically, which I'm gonna do now too, but I'm gonna do it a little bit quicker. Last time I kind of explained where the tools are, exactly the shape that I was sculpting. This time I'm gonna do it a little bit quicker, so that we can sort of, you know, add the main parts like the hair and the, maybe even, hopefully, I plan on adding the clothing too, so that we have like a full character, you could say. Good thing is, if you're watching on YouTube, of course, you can pause and resume whenever you want if you know, need some more time. That's the good part about watching streams on YouTube. If that's something you, I guess, you need or you want. So we're gonna do it a little bit quicker. So if you know, for example, like what I explained a lot is like where all the tools are. Usually I have my shortcuts for that, but you know, I can't really, you know, that takes a lot of time always explaining where they are. So I'm gonna do that a little bit quicker. I'm just gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna use the crease brush. So if you want to follow along, I guess it's good to know where the crease brush is and where the other brushes are. Someone asked me actually how you can sort of speed up your process in sculpting. They asked me like, oh, they don't always want to like press or click all the brushes. They just want to sculpt, I guess. And you can actually assign shortcuts in Blender by right-clicking the brush icon, or basically any button or anything that you can press. I think anything. And you can right-click, and then there's an option that is called Assign Shortcut. And you can, I think, assign any keyboard key that you need or that you want. I, for example, use 126 for all my most used sculpting tools. So if you want to do that too, then, you know, speed up your process and do that too. I'm also a 3D artist and game developer. Oh, nice. Game developer, nice. What kind of games? I'm guessing 3D games for yourself or in a studio. Do you use ZBrush? Welcome, sub, I'm guessing. That's how you say it. Welcome. I don't use ZBrush. I wanted to test it at some point. I heard that they want to switch to a subscription model. So we'll see how that turns out. Or no, we'll see if I you know, when I'll use it. I'm very wary with subscription models. I don't want to have too many at the same time. You know, I don't want to lose track of what I have subscribed to. So I try to always, you know, stay ahead of those, so I know which one I have subscribed to. Which is why I haven't tested ZBrush yet, for example. But I want to do it at some point. Maybe even do like a comparison between ZBrush and Blender. I think that's what I want to do at some point. I know a lot of people have done it before, but I want to do it myself, you know. Maybe spice it up a little bit with something. I haven't thought about it too much yet. Oh, somebody, hold on. Followed. 2 people followed on Twitch. Let me just see who it is. Oh, that's the wrong button, of course. Wasting my time here. I have 18 minutes left. There you go. Thank you for following Sorcerer Diary, I guess. And Oval Casso. Hope you enjoyed your day. Thank you for following. Hope you enjoyed the stream if you're still here. next time making base mesh for a character. We actually did that last week on Wednesday. I have like a long-term project that we do on stream right now, or that we started last week, which is that I wanted to create a Chun-Li from Street Fighter, Chun-Li figurine that I then want to 3D print, because I bought a 3D printer recently and I want to, you know, use it. So we need some models that I can print, and you know, to do that, what we're gonna do is we're working on a figurine, a Chun-Li figurine. We started last week. We created the base mesh for the body, and we started posing it. What we're gonna do this week, we're probably gonna continue working on it a little bit, maybe even tomorrow, and then on, yeah, probably tomorrow and the next day, Wednesday, and then on Thursday we're gonna have the next feedback session. So if you have any pieces that you want to get feedback on, make sure to join the Discord, either !Discord, or if you're on YouTube, should be in the description. And if you join, you can post your pieces in the personal feedback channel, and you can I'm going to give feedback on them next Thursday, so this week on Thursday. Okay, let's go to the back. We have some more to do here. What is... I don't like the mouth right now. The mouth looks weird. Let's see. Why does it look so weird? I think we need... it looks weird because it has like this weird curve here. I'm gonna push it into the middle a little bit. I think that'll help. Otherwise it looks kinda like he's like trying to move the mouth outwards, which looks kind of weird. So I think that's better. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we started by creating a base mesh for Chun-Li, and then we modeled it. I talked a little bit about how I like to create them using like linking the different limbs together so that you only have to work on one side. You can basically pose the base mesh and still have symmetry on your body, I guess you could say, by linking the limbs. Very, very useful. Speeds up the process, of course, a lot. You know, doubles the speed, you could say. And yeah, if you're curious how I create them, then you can check that out. For today, we're going to start with a base mesh, of course. We're going to start from scratch with a sphere. And yeah, no base mesh for this. I have a base mesh for a human, but I want to start from scratch for these because, you know, I can't really, you know, expect anybody to have the ones that I have, or any base mesh basically. So, you know, we're going to start from scratch. I think that's also sort of more fun to build something out of a sphere, out of nothing basically. I think that's more fun than already having like a built body, for example, that you only really change, for example, or like even just a head. So we're gonna build it from nothing, okay? Starting with nothing and ending with everything. Okay, there's this little fin in the back that I also want to add. I think that adds some more character and more uniqueness, let's say. Let's do that now. Do you believe in any religion? I actually was in a evangelic, what is it? Evangelic kindergarten, but I'm not religious. I just live. I don't believe in any, you know, I don't have religion I follow, or whatever however you say it. My parents aren't either. I think my grandparents aren't either, so I don't really have any people where I could, I guess, inherit it from. We just are. Look at him. Nice hair, bro. Let's have some more detail here. I want to make it wider. It's supposed to fan out like this. And then, yeah, perfect. Okay. So it may, yeah, it looks quite flat. So let's add some more detail here. We have 12 minutes. Wow. Time is actually not flying by this time. We have enough time for everything. Perfect. That's usually the problem for these quick sketches. Time is always running out before you can finish the project, but that's a good thing, I think. I'm probably gonna make a video about my quick sketches after I'm done with a year full of them. So at the end of this month, and I'm gonna sort of, you know, talk about the benefits of doing it and what I learned, I guess. Oh no, I messed up the sculpt. Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna do at some point, because I think they're very, very valuable for very, very specific, I guess, reasons. Not necessarily just to get, I guess, warmed up. Always happy in your stream. Nice to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. That's what I wanted to say, not nice to hear that. There you go. Okay. So let's give it some more character here. Good thing is, the sketch is quite rough, so we can sort of experiment a little bit more to sort of, I guess, improvise. Let's kind of combine the thin here, the fin here in the middle. There you go. Perfect. Okay, let's go to the middle here. I kind of want to lower it a little bit, give it some more depth. Right now it's quite flat. How long have you been studying English? You sound American when I first saw you. When you first saw me, does that mean I don't sound American anymore? Unbelievable. Well, so I'm from Germany. And I think I didn't really learn that much English in school. I think most of my English, or most of my vocabulary, and maybe even dialect. No, it's not dialect, right? It's the other one. The whatever it is. I learned most of it through YouTube, believe it or not. At some point I got kind of bored, or kind of, you know, when you're younger and you watch YouTube, at some point you have so much time you can watch any YouTube video you want, you know. And at some point I ran out of YouTube videos to watch, so I decided to I sort of thought to myself, you know what? Why don't I just? Oh no, I actually thought like, oh, you know, this PewDiePie guy is supposed to be pretty big. You know, I kind of want to watch some of his videos, but I don't really speak that much English, I guess. And so I said to myself, you know what? Why don't I just watch only English-speaking YouTubers or YouTube videos from now on, so I can learn English while also getting entertained. So that's what I did. I think since like, I don't even know, since I was like 15, maybe even earlier. And since then, you know, I think the most that I learned is from watching stuff, you know, and not really learning. I never really actively learned English. I think I just very early on learned, you know, a lot through watching videos, and then every time I came up or I encountered a new word that I didn't know, I would just look it up. That's basically how I learned. And also, I guess how I decided, or my pronunciation comes from there too. Wonder Woman, oh. That's actually interesting. So, of course, for real life characters, if you're talking about Wonder Woman, of course, the goal would be to really reach the level of likeness so that you can see the person in your sculpt, for example. But likeness is pretty hard and requires a lot of attention to detail, which would mean if you do, you know, for example, real life characters, which I'm not against it, but it's not gonna, you know, similar to maybe Neon this time, you know. I think Rio came pretty close, but maybe Neon, I guess she's quite, she's quite, you could say, stylized, so she doesn't have too many specific features. Of course she has, because she looks unique, but more because of her outfit and her hair and all that, more than her face, which is usually what you have for stylized characters. Like facial features aren't really that unique in stylized characters necessarily. Which means that, yeah, for example, like Wonder Woman wouldn't look like Gal Gadot necessarily. More like a, you know, another person, I guess. 6 minutes? Okay. That went by quick. Let me save this, because I lost one quick sketch at some point. I don't want to lose another. I lost one of my kids. I don't want to lose another. There you go. Perfect. Okay. I want to add. Let's add another one. Let's add 2 more flaps here. I'm gonna add one. Oh, hello. On this side. Hello. On this side, and then another one on the other side. And because of the magic of mirroring, we can do 2 at the same time. Look at that. Perfect. So if you ever want to speed up your process in Blender, whether it's sculpting or modeling a base mesh or whatever, just use the the mirror modifier. Instant double the speed. No time commitment, no preparation, just doing. Just applying the mirror modifier or just enabling symmetry, and then you're good. It actually somewhat works in most of the workflows, like weight painting too. I think even, I don't know if editing works, like in going in edit mode. I think there's an option for symmetry, but it doesn't work all the time. I don't exactly know how. I think it's very, very specific there. But, you know, it works if you haven't used it before, you know. Mirroring everything is very, very, very useful. Can save you a lot of time. Okay, let's go in here. There you go. I don't really have a very specific way of adding detail here, at least. I usually just, I guess, see if I can sort of visualize, or if I can see some sort of specific edges in the scope that I want to highlight and make a little bit, I guess, bigger. Like this one here that I just created. Make it a little bit more, I guess, accentuate it a little bit more. That can really help when it comes to, you know, detail out the character. Or finding ways to detail out the character. 2B. Oh, I mean, yeah. If you have ideas, you can post them in the Discord. Probably better to not, you know, send them all immediately, because I usually just select them from my, I guess, looking through Pinterest or whatever, or looking through the Discord. So, you know, maybe not spam them all at the same time, but, you know, from time to time, always drop one in. I think that's the best way to go. Look at that. Okay. I want to go to the neck, add a few more things here and there, and I think then we're good. Maybe even like a small shoulder pad here, or like another layer of skin. That could be pretty cool. Right here. Give it like a skin sweater. or his skin code right here. Sounds kind of creepy, but I guess that that's what you could call it. Okay, didn't really add too much here. Maybe we can refine it a little bit more. I think I want to go to other places first. Here in the middle. Go to this bump and give it some more detail here. With very, very fine detail, you have to be somewhat careful to not add too much. Otherwise, it just kind of muddies the sculpt itself. You have to have very, very clear main shapes. And then you can add sort of smaller details to those main shapes. If the main shapes don't really, or like big shapes, I guess you could say. If you can't really separate your character into very specific small, big shapes, it'll be hard to kind of read the character, make it very watchable, or I guess viewable. It'll hard to kind of identify what the character is supposed to be. Which is why getting the fundamentals right before you go into details is very important. Which is what we're gonna do today too when for Neon. Well, I do that for every character I do. Because fundamentals are the most important thing in anything, you know? You build a house, you need a good foundation. If you learn how to backflip, you need to know how to jump, okay? You need to learn the basics too. If you don't know the basics, a lot of things can go wrong. Everything else builds on top of it, and if the foundation is bad, then everything's gonna fall apart at some point. Okay, I kind of want to add a nose here too. Otherwise it looks kind of weird. So there you go. Sometimes I add more resolution to this, but I don't want to do that here. I kind of want to just work on the details a little bit more. We have 45 seconds left anyway. There you go. Looks somewhat different to the one that we can see in the reference, but that's the beauty of quick sketches. At some point, I just like to, I guess, improvise a little bit more. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Let's add some eyes, let's render it, and then we're good. Oh, hold on. I want to cut it off right here. Perfect. Nice. Okay, let's add eyes. Very simple. UV sphere. Mirror modifier. You see, I also added that to my shortcuts. I use Control this thing there to add a mirror modifier. It's underneath the escape key. Then I use mirror object, the sculpt, to create the eye size. I mean to mirror the eyes. They're sort of very, very, very far out of the eye socket, the eyes, so I kind of want to respect that. I don't want to do too much because they sort of have to stick in the skull, I think that's pretty good. We also need lighting. Let's grab lighting from my old files, my old projects, or quick sketches. There you go. Perfect. Okay, let's place the camera. Actually, yeah. Okay, I think that looks kind of weird, kind of funny. I think I want to place it there. Makes it look like it's like screaming into the sky. There you go. Screaming at the sky. Okay. Let's create... Oh, let's shade it first. We're going to use the main light first to sort of set the mood. Kind of want to place it over here. Or maybe up top, so it looks like it's something shining from above and it's looking at it. There you go. Use the next one to bring some more light into the scene. Okay, and then the last one to add the color. Okay. Let's add some shading. Shaders. Black for the eyes, of course, as always. There you go. Oh, look at those reflections in the eyes. They look perfect. Very cute. Oh, and then the quick sketch shader. There you go. Perfect. I kind of want to make it more kind of smoother. Let's put it to 0.2 roughness. Make it nice and glossy. Yeah. Perfect. Which colors have I not used for a while? So yesterday I've used... I don't even know. I think we haven't used green for a while. Okay, my Finder just imploded. Hello? Okay. Let's see, what have I used for the last few? I don't want to use the same color over and over and over again, so I like to switch between them. Yesterday I used yellow. Before that day I used red. Then I used... Oh, green, okay. I think I haven't used purple for quite... Oh, there's pink, I guess. Kind of purple. And then we have orange. I guess something like a nice, let's see. What do we have here? What about nice dark blue, like that? That's pretty cool, like a purple blue. Okay. Full saturation. Oh wow, nice. And then, oh, depth of field, and then we're good. Green, I've used green, oh, yeah, I mean, green could work too. Let's see what green looks like. Maybe this, teal. Actually, what about like full-on green? Or yellow-green? Look at that, oh my. I kind of like this energetic green. Kind of like that. I think that's cool. Okay. Oh, depth of field. Here it is. Here's the focus point. And then enable and set it to 0.4. Nice and shallow. Perfect. Render it. I like to keep it, I don't like to smooth the sculpt because I like the sort of geometry look that it has, these quick sketches, which is why I usually don't, you know, shade them smooth, I guess. Okay, I kind of want to have 8. Yeah. Lens distortion too, of course, all the fancy effects. There you go, perfect. And then 100% resolution and f12. There you go, look at them. Of course, it's not done yet. Let's go into Photoshop afterwards so we can finish the render. Because it, you know, it's at 50% right now. We're gonna bring it to 100% in Photoshop with some PP, aka post-production. Oh, okay. Pretty crazy that I already did, or almost already finished, a year of these quick sketches. I think I actually did half of the year I think for half of the year I actually did sculpts. I don't know when I never remember when I started these. When I started sculpting them. I started with just normal modeling. Poly modeling, I guess you could say, or sort of layouting stuff with, I guess, downloaded 3D models. And at some point I switched to sculpting. Okay. Let's get to Photoshop. Wait. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Duplicate. Convert to smart object because it's he might not be smart, but we are smart, so we need a smart object. And then let's go in here. So in here we can do some more post-production. I like to add another tint. I don't like blue here. Blue looks cool, but I kind of want to give it to yellow. It makes it more, like it makes it warmer, makes it more, I guess, organic. Cold, I mean, blue always feels like very cold. Usually living objects aren't really cold, you know, so I like to go to something more like blue, I mean, orange or yellow. You could also say, well, it's sort of scared of the cold that is coming from up top, but I don't know. Kind of like your yellow more. I like to have two colors in the image now, not just one. We could also go to green, but you know, then we only have one color, so I like to stick with yellow here. Let's see if we can change the contrast. We have a pretty good distribution here. We have, of course, have a lot of black because of the background. But maybe we can push the whites just a little bit higher. That's pretty good. You can see when it's peaking, when all three of these, what is it? These graphs go up. So we have a blue, we have a red, and we have a green one. The green one is already up there because of the light in the background. But if we, for example, increase the highlights even more, you can see all three go up. And the blue actually stays below for whatever reason. But you can also see how we kind of lose structure at the top because it gets too white. There we go. We can't really see any structure up here anymore. So I kind of want to avoid that. Just kind of brighten up a little bit. Maybe even the shadows. There you go. Do you animate your 3D models? I actually don't. I did one animation on stream. We did an animation before on stream. We haven't finished it though. Maybe at some point. I don't think so though. Maybe. But yeah, I don't really necessarily do that. Do you remember, or do you know these posts that you randomly see in, you know, I don't know, on Instagram or whatever, where you see these looping animated images where you have like clouds that sort of fall down, and then they fade away, and then there are new clouds coming up, and sort of always looping in this infinite sort of animation. I always thought you would create stuff like that with like a program, but I haven't found that program yet. It seems to be quite secret. I wanna try that for my posts because that could look pretty cool. Welcome Scallyblocks YT or Scallyblocks YouTube. Hope you enjoyed your Monday. You know how to sculpt and rig a realistic face. I can't find anyone who can. I did it before, but I'm not an expert at it. I think I did it once. I guess you can. The basic rigging isn't too hard, but when it comes to, well, I don't want to undersell it, I guess. The face is very, very intricate, so it can be quite hard to create a good rig. For like basic, I guess, like facial expressions, it might be somewhat simple, but if you go a little bit deeper into it, it can get quite complicated. If you want to sort of get a rig yourself that you want to apply to your character, I guess the best one, the one that I use, is the one from is it Rigify, the add-on that comes with Blender, where you can add rigs to your scene by just, you know, adding them in the add menu. I guess that would be the one. That's the one that I use. I haven't watched a video about it. I've only really watched a video about, I guess, how to rig, and then I just, you know, did it. So I can't really tell you like a specific video. I think the most videos when I rigged my character, the most videos that I watched were from Royal Skies LLT, I think. They do like 1 or 2 minute tutorials about certain topics, or you know, about specific topics in Blender. Mostly, I think, rigging, or mostly like characters and game creation, like animating a character, modeling a character, rigging a character, stuff like that. They have very, you know, short but to the point videos that might be what you're looking for. Okay, perfect. This one is done. We can soon go to the actual scope for today. Before we do that, I'm gonna save this once more for you know, social media as a JPEG. Then I'm gonna upload it to social media as a JPEG. Who would have guessed? And then once that is done, we're gonna start with Neon. So if you want to follow along, get ready. You have roughly 4 minutes left to get ready, because I'm gonna play a compilation while I'm uploading this image, which is roughly 3 minutes long. Let's prepare the file. New. Oh, hello. There you go. Perfect. Do we need anything else? I think we're good. Perfect. Oh, we need one more thing. I'm going to add that to sculpting, which is the reference. Yeah. There it is. So which one's the best reference? I guess this one's pretty good. Or this one. You can't see what I'm doing. There you go. I think that's pretty good. Maybe not the best angle, but I think it's pretty good. Okay. Let me import it into my phone. And then you're gonna see a compilation, as I said, 3 minutes of all the things that we did on stream in February and March of last year. And afterwards, we're gonna go straight to Neon. Wait, okay. Perfect. Yeah, we're gonna start with a sphere, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay. What brushes do you normally use? So brushes that I use is, number 1 is the clay strips brush. Number 2 is the crease brush. Number 3 is the grab brush. So these ones are the 3 most used, I guess. Number 4 is the mask brush. Number 5 is the snakehook brush. And number 6 is the pose brush. I don't use the pose brush too much, but I guess you could say those are the most used brushes. Of course, I have the smooth brush too. But for the smooth brush, you know what? I could actually put that on 6. Because I don't really need the pose brush to be short-cutted, I guess. So I'm going to put that to 6. There you go. Because usually I like to switch, like, in the smooth brush you can switch between laplation and surface, the deformation mode, which have very specific uses, which I both use in my sculpts. But usually, you know, if you're just sculpting, you can just hold shift to smooth your mesh. You know, with any brush, holding shift usually, I guess, applies the smooth modifier. The difference is if you use the mask mode or the mask brush, and then you hold shift, you smooth, I guess, the mask. But I think every other brush just smooths the mesh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. I'm gonna upload the image. 3 minutes. Hope you enjoy the compilation, and then we're gonna begin with Neon. We have roughly... Oh wow. No, hold on. We have 2.5 to 3 hours, which sounds pretty good. should be enough. Usually for a character, it takes me, when I do them for my quick sketches, or, you know, just by myself, at roughly 2 hours, but should be pretty good. So yeah, I'll see you in 3 minutes, and then we're gonna begin. Enjoy the compilation. You are back at it again. Let's bring back the music. There you go. Let me change the music. It's a little bit too hard for my taste. Okay, that's better. Okay. Okay, hold on. It's quite warm here, so let me just quickly get rid of this hoodie, and then we can begin. Give me 10 seconds. Welcome back, Hustler. Oh, howdy. Hope you enjoyed your Monday. I see you've been doing some work, practicing the torso, at least a little bit, you know. What did you say? Something like, hold on. I want to read it again. There it is. Oh yeah, you couldn't sleep. That kind of got me thinking, like, wait, what? Like, okay, so what I thought was, I guess that's what was happening, or that happened for you, is you tried to sleep. I think you said before that it's hard for you to sleep, or it takes a long time. So you decided to wake up again, or to get out of bed again and then sculpt. Is that what happened? Because that sounds kind of interesting, let's say. Okay. Okay. Let's go to here. Okay. So we can see the reference, but we are not done yet. We actually don't need the sphere because we're going to start from scratch with this, which is a UV sphere. We're going to add those. We're going to add that though once we're starting the follow along sculpting tutorial, I guess you could say, in a minute or so. Let me just prepare everything and then we can begin. The silhouette of the body still misses me. I find shoulders being weird. Yeah. Usually if I don't know why something looks the way it looks, or I'm confused about it, I look at the anatomy and then I usually understand it. You know, basically understanding anatomy when you try to sculpt it is basically just knowing what muscles contribute in what way to the volume. For shoulders, it's actually fairly simple. So I think it's time for another Sam Webster video. I also sleep a bit better when I know I at least did something productive that day. Oh, was it your off day? Or was it, you know, like I don't know, just an unproductive day at work too. Okay. Usually I can't really sleep if I have too many thoughts. That's the problem. That's something that I had yesterday, but I think I still got enough sleep. Okay. With my new sleep schedule, I have, you know, I usually always have enough. Okay. So get ready, get your pens out, get your tablets out, whatever you use. Because we're gonna start soon. I use a tablet. You don't need to use a tablet. You can also use a mouse. The only difference is that you have pressure sensitivity with your tablet, which you don't have with your mouse, of course. I guess, no, never mind. I wonder if there are mouses where you can have pressure sensitivity. That sounds kind of weird, but it could make sense. I don't know when you need it though. Yeah. We're gonna begin from scratch, and then yeah, we're gonna create the face is the main attraction, let's say, of course, including the hair. And then we're going to add the shoulders too. I want to also add the sort of, I guess you could say, the outfit on her neck too. We'll see. We'll see how far we can go. How far we will get. Okay. We have roughly 2.5 hours, so that's pretty good. Yeah. Wait, 2.5? Maybe even 3. Oh no. It actually took me 3 hours to finish my latest quick sketch where I did the full body sculpt. So I did, after doing the after we started the Chun-Li sculpt or figurine, I thought like, okay, you know, I just want to do like freestyle sculpt a female body to practice my anatomy sort of. So that's what I did for one of my quick sketches, and it roughly took me 3 hours, including the head, of course. So, you know, you're going to see that on Wednesday if you're interested in that, you know? Okay. Welcome, Zachary. Hope you enjoyed your Monday, maybe even your weekend, you know? Weekends are supposed to be quite enjoyable, I heard. I visit my grandparents because my grandpa, it was my grandpa's birthday. Well, on Friday, but, you know, we visited on Sunday. Okay, so yeah, I think we can begin. I don't want to waste any more time. I already rambled too much. So let me get rid of this, and then it's snowing. Oh no. It's getting colder here, but it hasn't snowed yet. Last year it snowed in March, I think. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I'm gonna hide everything we don't need. Cameras, do we need cameras? We don't need cameras. There you go. Lots of it. Yeah, it tends to sort of like hit you at some point, and then, you know, that's it. Usually it doesn't really just snow all day and then all night and then all day again. It just snows and then it's like full, and then it just stops for some reason. Okay, yeah. We're basically ready to begin. Yeah, so welcome to another follow-along sculpting session. The next follow-along sculpting session where we're going to sculpt a character. This time what we're going to sculpt is Neon from Valorant. Last time we sculpted Ryu, so, you know, let's, after finishing a sort of very, I guess, yeah, let's say a very male character. Let's do a female character this time, which means yeah, it's gonna be a little bit, I guess the face is gonna be a little bit smoother. We're gonna need to be a little bit more, I guess, specific, or a little bit more careful with our brush strokes. But we're gonna get through it. Okay. Welcome, Super Killer. Hope you enjoyed your Monday. It never snows in the UK. Yeah. I think the last 3 years it didn't snow for us too. Like last year it did, but then the previous 2 or 3 years it never snowed. We were kind of surprised that it did. Yeah. Yeah. So to begin my sculpts, you can use a pen or a tablet. A pen, a tablet, or a mouse. It doesn't really matter. We're going to, of course, begin from scratch. We're also going to add the hair, of course. We're going to add the face. We're going to focus on the face. We're going to add the hair. We're going to also add the outfit around the shoulders. I want to kind of make like a bust of the character. We're going to start with a sphere and go from there. So let's get straight into it. Last time I explained everything quite in detail. So I went from like explaining where the tools are, exactly how I use them. This time I want to be a little bit quicker. So we have some more, I guess, time to work on the character. So this time I'm not going to explain like exactly with every stroke what I do, but I'm going to still explain everything so that you can follow me basically. What we're going to do in the beginning, of course, we need something to sculpt on. So let's add a sphere. I like to begin with a sphere because the sphere is the perfect starting, I guess, starting piece, starting block. At least in my opinion, because it sort of resembles a head already. We're not going to use one sphere, we're going to use two spheres. Actually, no, we're not going to use, well, yeah, we're going to use 2 spheres. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate the sphere and move it to the side. I thought about using my base mesh because, well, but of course, that's only my base mesh, so you don't have it, so we're not going to use it. I have a way to turn this here into eyes, but we're going to go into that later. First of all, we have the base mesh that we're going to use here is this sphere. The other one, I guess you can make smaller to kind of identify the two. This one will be the eyes for the character, and this one will be the head. So we're going to begin with the head first. Let's go into sculpting so we can begin. I usually have my sculpting tab up here. Let's switch, and then you can see the character. I think I said it already. We're going to sculpt Neon today from Valorant. The newly released character, or agent, let's say. And this basically includes everything except for the arms that I want to kind of add. Hair, face, and hopefully also the details, because that's sort of what makes the character unique. But let's not waste any more time explaining what I want to do. Let's begin. How we're going to start is we're going to turn this into a remeshed sphere, because then we can avoid dynamic topology warning signs or warning messages. Let's just press Ctrl R to retopologize or to remesh it. There you go. Problem is, if we add a new mesh, we also need to reapply symmetry to work twice as fast. So let's do that now. Let's apply symmetry. There you go. And then let's also apply dynamic topology. Let's go over the dynamic topology settings that I usually use for all these sculpting sessions or sculpting tutorials, which is 20 resolution, refine method, subdivide collapse, and the detailing method constant detail. If you have relative detail enabled, you will see this one. But it shouldn't be 12 pixel, it should be constant detail with 20 resolution. So if you have pixels behind your number, then you need to switch to constant detail. Okay. I use constant detail because it's just, I guess, easier for me to work with. I can separate my process into easier steps to follow through, I guess. I'm going to explain you what I mean by that later. Okay. Now we have everything prepared to begin. We can see we have symmetry, we have dynamic topology. Let's begin with the face first. I always like to begin with the head. So let's do that. First thing we're gonna need is the snake hook brush. There you go. I'm gonna create the jaw first because we already have the upper head. So let's add the jaw. If you don't want to see, I don't want to see the eyes right now, the second object. So we're gonna hide it. There you go. And then let's go to the sphere. And we're going to use the cursor, make it roughly as big as the sphere is. And we're going to go not into the middle of the sphere, but a little bit to the side. And just drag it down. So we can create the chin area, basically. Or we can create the jaw, basically. There you go. Pull it down like this. So we have this flap in the front. Then we're going to go to the side. That doesn't necessarily need to be like 45 degrees. Can be a little bit steeper. A little bit more on the side of the sculpt. I'm gonna go somewhere in between at least 0 and 90, you could say. And then we're gonna select this edge here with the snake hook brush again, and we're gonna drag this backwards like this. And there you go. We already have the jaw. So that's a good start. Let's continue. So now that we have the basic head shapes, what I like to usually do is I like to fill out the jaw. So let's fill out the jaw. I use the clay strips brush for that. Some people like to use the draw brush, but I like to use the clay strips brush. We're gonna fill this out to avoid any complications when we change the face. There you go. Smooth it with the holding shift and the holding shift with the clay strip brush, for example, or any brush that affects the geometry. There you go. And then we need to do a few more things to change the head shape. The head shape isn't done yet. The next thing that I want to do is I want to go to roughly here to the side, to the temple, you could say. That's going to be the temple of the head, here to the side of the sculpt. Look at it from the front, and then I'm going to push it into the middle. I use the grab brush for that. So I'm going to switch to the grab brush, go to the side of the sculpt here, the side of the face, and just push that into the middle. There you go. So then when you look from the top, it looks something like this. The widest part is at the back, and it gets thinner as you get forward. There you go. Perfect. So we already have the head shape. I like to smooth everything. If we don't have enough geometry here, because we haven't really affected it by anything yet, by any dynamic topology brushes, we can, for example, just quickly use the snake hook brush, just tap it to apply more geometry here. Just tap it. You don't really see what I'm doing. I just tap it, and then we have applied more geometry to the entire mesh. There you go. Okay. So we have the head shape now. What I usually like to do is I like to begin with a, standard head shape, and then I like to customize it more according to the character once I have the sort of basic head shape. I mean, the basics in place. Yeah, that's how I usually do it. Well, a few more things here before we can, go to the face itself. The first thing is that the head should be the widest, roughly above the ears is where you have the widest part of the head. So not down here. Right now it's quite wide down here. I kind of want to make it more like a heart shape. She has quite a round face, as you can see there. So I kind of want to push the corners of the jaw a little bit more into the middle. So I'm going to use the grab brush again, and I'm just going to push it into the middle. There you go. This head is quite long too, and there are a few more things that I want to adjust. Let's go to the side of the face. One thing that I notice right now is that the chin is quite far forward. So I'm just going to push it back just a little bit. There you go. So it's sort of in line with all the rest of the face here, or the front of the sculpt. There you go. Perfect. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to push the jaw corner a little bit higher. Female faces tend to have a more steep angle for the jaw. So for males, you could, for example, if you really want to accentuate it, you can make like a horizontal jaw like this. For females, I guess how you could do it is you could make it more diagonal. A good rule for that would be to place the corner of the jaw on the mouth height. So something like there, for example. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Another thing that I want to do, what I usually do to kind of finalize the back of the head, is I push what we have here, this round part here, down here, this quarter. I like to push that a little bit up because that's sort of the natural skull shape. So I like to push this just a little bit higher like this, maybe even looking from the side. So it looks something like this. A general rule for the back of the skull is that if you sort of follow the shape, the bottom of the skull in the back, where it sort of goes into itself, I guess, here, when you look at it from the side, is sort of the lowest part here of the, I guess you could say, upper part of the head. So excluding the jaw is on the nose height. So where the nose ends, so between the lip and the nose, is basically the ending of the upper part of the skull, right here, roughly. I think that's in a pretty good spot. I think also the head is quite round. I want to push it down a little bit. So I'm going to go here into the middle. I'm just going to push it down a little bit. Not too much. There you go. We already have a rounder face just by doing that. We can maybe do it a little bit more. That looks pretty good. It looks quite wide for me. Oh, another thing that I want to adjust real quick is I want to go to the view because I want to change the focal length from 50 to 80. I mean 85. I like to use 85 for characters. I recently started using it because it's a very good focal length to sort of gauge the proportions of the face. 50 is quite prone to sort of distorting your face slightly. The closer you are to something, the more the lower focal length. So the closer you are to something and the lower your focal length, the more you will distort a face. So if I set this to 20, for example, and then go closer, you can see how much it distorts the face. See how much longer it is now? But now if I switch to 85, you can first of all see it zooms in, but it also makes the face way flatter. And that's why I like to use focal length of 85, because it sort of it's a good focal length to sort of sculpt characters basically, because it keeps everything very, very undistorted. Okay, and with this focal length we can see it's quite wide the head. So I want to push the sides here a little bit more into the middle using the the grab brush again. So pushing it into the middle a little bit more here and up here too. Not too much. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Finally gradient. Wait, I never said you were weird. It was just confusing for me. It was you know, when I didn't use it, it was sort of, I guess you could say it was surprising. But now I switched, you know, and now it's okay. It's still a weird difference if switching from 50 to 80 every time I do it. But yeah, okay. So now that we have the head shape, let's go to the actual character. How I like to begin is I like to add the eye holes first and use those as an anchor point for the rest of the face. So the eye holes you can basically place roughly in the middle of the head, vertically. So we're going to go from up top and sort of draw a line and see where the middle of the face is. It would probably be somewhere over here. So for female characters, you can also, if you want to highlight their femaleness their femaleness a little bit more, you can bring them even lower. But I want to place them in the middle of the head. So I'm probably going to place them right here. Make nice little ovals right here, like this, nice and round. I think that looks pretty good. There you go. Place them right there. Okay. Next step, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the side. We're going to grab the grab brush. Ironic. And then we're going to just select the inner wall, which separates the eye holes right here. And we're going to drag it down back so that the forehead becomes sort of straight. So it goes straight down. So we're going to push this back like this. There you go. Okay. And that is already, those are the eye holes. Yeah, it felt kind of weird. I always knew that I wanted to switch at some point, but I just forgot about it every time I closed Blender. Okay, now that we have the eye holes, let's sort of build around them to create the rest of the face. The next thing that I want to do is I like to add the cheekbones now. So we're going to go to the lower left quarter of the eye hole. We're going to use the clay strips brush again, and we're going to dig down and then to the back of the head. I actually want to try something. If you hold D, you can use the annotation pencil. There it is. Yeah, I actually didn't know that works. Somebody told me that on TikTok. So D was usually used to switch between meshes in scope mode, but they changed that to Alt Q. Now, if you hold D, you can use the annotation pencil. Okay, that's what it is. I don't know how you can remove it with a shortcut, but you know, you can now draw dicks. There you go. For holding D. And if you want to remove it, I guess you have to switch to the annotation pencil and then hold Control to use the eraser. There you go. The eraser. There you go. Welcome. Milkman 007. I see. Follow the follow-up to James Bond, I see. Welcome. Love from India. Love back from Germany. Thank you for the, I guess you followed. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. Hope you enjoyed the stream. And hope you have had a great day. So now that we have the, we want to add the cheekbones now. So let's go to the bottom left quarter of the eye holes. We're going to use the clear strips brush and we're going to draw a line from here downwards and then in a curve backwards like this to the back of face, roughly where the jaw connects to the head, like this. I like to sort of even everything out because right now we just have this trench right here. I like to even out the surface, I guess, down here. So I just remove the same amount down here too to make it nice and even with the trench that I just created. There you go, perfect. And then I use the smooth brush to kind of just smooth it a little bit. There you go, perfect. Look at that. Okay, so we already have like an outline for the cheekbone. What I usually then like to do is I like to sort of accentuate the cheekbone quite a lot, or a little bit more, kind of flesh it out by adding a little bit more volume, making it rounder. Right now it's quite flat, so let's add more volume to it by just adding more volume here. In this sort of inward motion, going to the mouth, you could say, in this inward sort of curve motion inwards, like this. And then if we go to the back, it just becomes sort of like a round volume like this. There you go. Like to smooth it here in the middle. There you go, that's pretty good. Yeah. I love sculpting noses. I only know nose sculpting. Well, if you're interested, today I uploaded a video on my videos channel about how to sculpt eyes or how I sculpt eyes. Or you can just wait until we do it here, I guess. Okay, now that we have the cheekbones, let's go to the next one. I want to go to the I guess, eyebrows. The eyebrows are fairly simple too. Let's begin and do those. Welcome, Philbert X24. Hope you had a great Monday. Hope you had a great weekend too. Okay, so for the eyebrows, I like to begin in the middle, the forehead basically, or the transition from the nose to the forehead. We're going to create like a trapezius or like a cube here. So all we're going to draw is something like this. Just add a little bit more volume here, like this. There you go. A little bump right there. There you go. We can smooth it to make it nice and smooth. Okay. And then we're going to go to the side of the eyes. We're going to start at the corner here, the outer corner of the eye. And we're going to draw from here upwards, like a triangle like this. And then into the middle of the, I guess, the middle of the eyebrows, you could say, right here. We have this triangle right here. See this triangle here? Hold on. There you go. That's the triangle that I want to draw here. Starting from the outer corner of the eyes, like this, into the middle, and then this. Perfect. Okay. Now what we want to do is, or I want to go from this triangle, from the tip of the triangle, go backwards, draw just backwards like this, to the back of the head, of the skull, like this. To get these two lines here. Do you work in animation studios? Nope, I work in an advertisement agency. No 3D stuff, mainly, I guess. There you go. So now we have these stripes going back. Let's go to the side of the head and adjust that a little bit. What I want to do is I want to make this sort of flat in the front. So I'm going to hold shift to use the smooth brush and just kind of smooth it to kind of even out the transition from the side of the head to the sort of stripe that we just created. Just kind of hold shift to kind of even it out a little bit. There you go. Only really in the front, maybe to the middle of the head here. That's it. We don't need to do more. There you go, to do that. And then I want to go into the middle and add one more thing, which is sort of the sort of, I guess, the volume of the forehead. To add the volume, all we're going to do is we're going to go above this little bump that we've just created, and we're going to draw a circle or a half circle like this. There you go. Nice and big, make it nice and voluptuous like this. Perfect. There you go. And then I used to smooth everything to make it nice and yeah, smooth. Nice and organic. There you go. So this is the forehead. Looks quite flat right now, but you know, we're not done yet. Let's continue. Next step is the forehead is quite flat right now. You can see the eyes are quite, you could say, well, if you look from the top, you can see it's quite flat overall. I want to make it rounder. So the best way to do that is we're going to use the grab brush. We're going to make it quite big so that we can pull this edge here backwards, including the cheekbone. So we're going to go here and we're going to go to the sort of corner or the edge right here. We're going to make the grab brush quite big and then we're going to just pull it back like this. I want to kind of keep the middle in its place. I don't want to push it back, pull it back too. I just want to keep it there. I only really want to push the sides backwards. So we push it, pull it backwards like this. There you go. And this way we already made the forehead a little bit rounder. I probably also want to push the, actually no, I think that's pretty good. Okay. So we have the top part of the head. Let's go to the next one. I kind of want to smooth the forehead a little bit. It's quite strong right now. So I'm going to smooth it up here a little bit. I think it needs some more smoothness. Female faces are generally smoother. So let's add some more of that good old smoothness to it. There you go. Let's go to the bottom of the face. I make ads for YouTube. I actually made one. I think I made one so far. I made a few YouTube videos, I guess, for a client, but nothing crazy. Okay. Next thing that I want to do is I want to add the nose and mouth. Fairly simple, okay? Trust me. I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. So the first thing that we need is we're going to use the snakehook brush again. Hello? Oh, there you go. So, yeah. We're going to use the snakehook brush again. We're going to go to the side of the face and we're going to make the snakehook brush fairly big and we're going to pull out, I guess you could say, some more volume. We're going to go here to the middle of the face right here, looking at it from the side, and we're going to pull it forward. Something like this. There you go. Not too far, maybe like that. And I want to make this straighter to this bump up here. This curve is quite round right now. I kind of want to make it a little bit straighter, so I'm going to pull this forward too. There you go. And then what I want to do is I want to fill this space here too. If you draw a line from the tip that we have here right now to the chin, you could say, I want to make like a straight line with the volume. So I'm going to fill the space by just pulling this forward too. There you go. Perfect. Look at that. So this includes now the nose and the mouth. It might be a little bit, I guess, thin right now, but we can change that. You know what this always reminds me of is the sort of the way some animes draw faces from the side, where you can see the where the nose is sort of included in the mouth. That's sort of what this always reminds me of. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go to the nose and mouth. You can see the volume here is quite thin right now, so we're going to go to the grab brush again. There you go. And we're going to pull this a little bit further out. We're just going to pull it apart like this. Add some more volume here. There you go. Okay. Now I want to separate the nose from the mouth. What we're going to use for that is the crease brush. So this one up here. With the crease brush, what I want to do is I want to, I guess, outline the nose first. Fairly simple, okay? It's a, I guess, specific maneuver, okay? But I'm going to show you how I do it. It might be simpler the way I did it for my fundamental sculpting explanation or my follow-along sculpting tutorial about the nose itself. But this is the advanced version of this, where we're going to include basically all the steps together in one, okay? So pay attention. So how we're going to do this is we're going to go to the bottom of the nose, which is roughly where the cheekbones sort of transition to the rest of the face. We're going to use the crease brush. We make it quite big, maybe like 0.4. And we're going to do a maneuver that sort of goes from here to the back. It's going to be, I'm going to just show you what we do. So we're going to go here in the middle. We're going to separate the two like this. And then we're going to rotate to the side. And we're going to draw a U like this. So that we already have the nose shape immediately here. There you go. So we draw a horizontal line like this, rotate a little bit, and then you draw this U shape to create the nostril, basically. What you could do now is you could separate the nose even more from the mouth, or outline the mouth, by drawing a line downwards like this. There you go. Okay, so we already have the nose. Let's go to the mouth now. Let me save this sculpt real quick so we don't lose it. Okay, hold on. Neon, there it is. You know what always pops up when I look for neon references? It always just some Valorant logo that is in like a neon style, never really the character. That was the annoying part about finding references for her. Okay. So we have the nose now. Let's go to the mouth. The mouth is fairly simple. Let me show you how I usually do it. What we're going to do is we're going to use the crease brush again, and we're just going to draw a line horizontally. We're not going to add any expression yet. We can do that later. What I care about now is only really sort of, I guess, adding the lips to the face. So we're going to use the crease brush, and we're just going to draw a horizontal line like this. There you go. Make it a little bit wider than the nose. There you go. Okay. There you go. What I want to do afterwards is I want to switch, or I want to hold shift so I can use the smooth brush. And I want to smooth the edges that we just created by using the crease brush. So we're going to go to this edge up here and this edge down here to smooth them. I hold shift and I apply it up here, and I hold shift and I apply it down here. One more thing that I want to do is I want to go to the side here where the corner of the mouth is, and I want to do one more, I guess I want to smooth it here too, just kind of going diagonally downwards, so like this. There you go, okay? Something like that. Looks kind of weird, but we're gonna, you know, it all builds on top of each other, okay? Search for Neon Valorant, yeah, okay. I guess, but I don't know if that, you know, I want to have original references, not some fan-made references, okay? Okay, now that we have the first part of the lips, let's continue. The next part that I want to do is I want to outline or draw the lip shape. To do that, we're going to go here to the top. I want to add the sort of distance, or no, let's draw the lip shape first. We're going to go from the corner here, and we're going to draw a sort of a curve for the top lip, something like this. There you go. And then for the bottom lip, we're going to do the same. There you go. So we have the lips. They're quite, I guess, thin. So I'm going to pull them apart a little bit more. There you go. Okay. Smooth everything a little bit. Okay. So we have the lips. Looks still kind of weird, but I want to add all the pieces first, and then we're going to adjust them in terms of their proportions and all that. Okay. So we have the lips. Let's go to the, there are a few more things that we need to do to kind of, I guess, fine tune the lips. First things first is I want to add the sort of space in between the lips. So going from the top lip to the nose, not in between the lips, but the top lip of the top of the lip, no, the top lip and the nose, the space in between that. Let's do that next. All I want to do here is really just kind of add like a small dip here in the middle. There you go. Okay. And then I want to use the smooth brush again to smooth this space here, make it a little bit flatter, like this. Okay, there you go. I know it looks weird right now, but for me it's already beautiful. Thank you, Funky DJ Kitty Cat. That's an interesting name. It's a cool name. A funky name, you might say. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna look better, okay? You can expect more, okay? I'll try to provide, okay? Handsome Squid. Yeah, this is the handsome Squidward phase of the sculpt. Okay, so we have the lips now. What is missing is, now that we sort of added the bones and muscles to the face, what we need to add now is the fat layer. So let's add the fat layer now. We're gonna add the eyes afterwards. Actually, no, let's add the eyes first. So now that we have the lips and we have the nose, let's go to the eyes. For the eyes, what we're gonna do? Hold on, let me see. So for the eyes, we're actually going to create, or we're going to apply the final, or probably the final eye size already. So we kind of have to see that we can, or we need to make sure that the head shape is in a good spot. I think I want to do a few more adjustments to kind of get it there. The jaw's quite wide right now, so I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. we can also see, if you look from the bottom, that the jaw right now is quite round. It usually is sort of straight. It's like a V shape, so I'm going to push this more into the middle, more like this. There you go. Okay, so it already looks better. There are a few more things that I want to do. I think I want to push the nose a little bit further inwards. I think the face is sort of stretched right now. I kind of want to push the nose and lips a little bit further into the middle, or into the eyes, let's say. I'm just gonna push this backwards. That's better. There you go, better proportions. And I think I also want to push all of the back here because it's quite stretched. I want to push it closer together. So we're gonna make the grab brush very, very big and just kind of push everything forward. There you go, perfect. There you go. Okay, I think that's a better spot now. Maybe we could make the sides here a little bit thinner. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good starting point. Of course, we can always change the eyes if we need to, but I think that's a pretty good spot. Let's go to the eyes now. We're gonna go back to the layout because we need to prepare them first. So we're gonna go back to the layout. We're gonna bring back the eyes, and we're gonna look at them. What I want to do first is I want to actually make them look like eyes, so I want to add an iris. What we're going to do is we're going to rotate them on the x-axis by 90 degrees. Let me just quickly change the music. What is that? There you go. Okay. So now that we have the eye rotated, we're going to go into edit mode. And we're going to go to the middle of the eye. If we kind of look at these rows of faces, or these circles, we're going to go to the third circle. So we have the inner circle here in the middle. We have the middle, we have the second row, and then we have the third row. We're going to go to the third row, and we're going to add a cut or an edge in the middle of this. So we're just going to press Ctrl R and then left click. Right click to fixate it. There you go. The next thing that I want to do is I want to select all the vertices inside of the circle. So I press C to cursor select and select them all. And then I want to, the middle too. What I want to do then is I want to select one of the outer circle, one of the outer vertices, so that it's active, basically the active vertex. Then I want to go to the pivot point selection, and I want to use active element. So once we do that, we can now basically flatten this surface here in the front by pressing S, Y. So I want to scale it on the Y axis, and then I press 0. So it's basically all on the same level. So if I do that, it's all flat. There you go. Okay. Once we have that, we press E once, inwards, very small inwards extrusion like this. What we do then is we remove the edge here in the middle, this one. I want to get rid of this. So I'm gonna, press X, and then dissolve edges so we can get rid of it. And then I want to select the inner, well, no, before we do that, we go into vertex select again, and we remove the inner vertex too. So we have an open hole there. We remove this, vertices, there you go. And then we select the inner ring of the eye. Double click, there you go. What I want to do then is I want to press G and Y to move it slightly further back. So we have this sort of, I guess, inwards funnel. Next up, a few more things, okay? We're almost there. I want to extrude inwards. If it isn't extruding automatically on an axis, you can press Y to move it backwards, quite far back, at least halfway. You can press Alt Z, of course, to see it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe even longer, further backwards. And then I want to scale it outwards. So I press S. Hold on. Of course, we still have it on active vertex. So we need to switch it back to medium point. Switch it back to medium point, and then we can scale it outwards like this. Okay. This looks pretty good already. It is almost done. Let's now apply a subdivision modifier. So we go to the modifier settings and we apply a, hold on. You probably know where the subdivision modifier is. It's right here. I don't want to hide my chat right now. There you go. Subdivision modifier. Perfect. you can't see through my eye because I have back face culling on. Let me deactivate it real quick. There you go. So that's what it should look like. We need to now sort of define edges. Shouldn't be too hard. We can also say shade it smooth if you want. We're going to go back into edit mode. We can go into the middle. We select the middle edge again, this middle circle here. And we press Shift E to make it nice and sharp. There you go. Perfect. And then a few more things here and there. I want to add I want to crease the outer edge too, right here. Shift E. You don't need to go all the way. You can also, if you can see, at some point it snaps where it reaches 100%. If you then go back a little bit again, you can kind of make it a little bit smoother than 100% like this. There you go. This looks pretty good sometimes. There you go. So we get something like this, and that's basically the eye that we're going to use. You can of course increase the subdivision a little bit to make the, I guess, shading a little bit better. And there you go. If you want to, of course, you can scale this edge a little bit to make the eye, you want to make the, I guess, eye hole a little bit bigger or smaller. There you go. But I'm going to keep it on the standard size, I guess. There you go. So now let's place this eye in the face. The way we're going to do that is we're going to apply the rules of eye size, okay? So let me actually name these objects real quick. Eyes, and we have the face. There you go. Okay, so what we need is an array modifier. So these ones are usually not my eyeballs. I have a base mesh that I use, but for the sake of ease, I guess, that's how I guess that's an easy way to create eyeballs. You can even, you know, now just, I guess, create UV maps to make like a nice iris texture, apply a nice iris texture if you want. So we could probably use that mostly for your characters too. I think those sort of, this has the proportions of normal eyeballs. The proportion of the eyeball is, if you look at it from the front, and you look at the width, you have 20, if you look at the total width and you put it in percent, so this is 100%, you have 25% white, then you have 50% iris, and then you have 25% white again. If you go from left to right, I mean, that's what you can see here. You have 100% width, you have 25% here, white, 50% of the width is iris, and then 25% white on the other side. That's sort of the size of the iris in relation to the overall eyeball size. Okay, let's now apply an array modifier so we can determine the eye size. Apply an array modifier right here. It's the top one on generate, the generate column. There you go. We want to use 7. We want to have 7 eyeballs next to each other. General rule: eyeballs can range from 6 to 7 eyeballs next to each other equal the head width, the widest head width. So where the head is the widest, if you place 7 eyeballs in that width, that is how big the eyes are supposed to be. So let's do that. So now that we have 7 eyeballs, we're probably going to use 6 actually for her, because I want to give her... Actually, no, we're going to go with 6.5. That's what I like to use for female eyes. So we're going to use this. We're going to go into the front orthographic view, either numpad 1 or, of course, viewpoint front. We're going to place the eyes right here, and we need to scale them down until they basically fit in here. So this is 7. So we're going to scale them down until all 7 fit in here. Right there. The widest part is roughly above the eyes. Right there. Perfect. So this is 7 eyes, but we wanted to use 6.5. So we need to scale it a little bit higher until we reach this point. So half of this eye is outside of the overall width, the maximum width of the head. So there you go. That's the eye size that we're going to use. Place it next to the head, and then we can remove the array modifier again. There you go. Of course, we do not only have 1 eye, we have 2 eyes. So what we need is a mirror modifier. I have mine on control \, I guess. It doesn't work for some reason. So we can also just select it from the modifier list. we're going to use the mirror modifier right here. Select it. And then we're going to use the mirror object. We're going to go to the mirror object option. And we're going to select the face. And then we have 2 eyes. So we're almost there. Let's place the eyes in the face now. We're going to move the eye so they are roughly in the middle of the eye hole. A little bit higher. Actually, no, we can place them roughly in the middle here. One more thing that I want to do here. Space between eyeballs, it can be, I think, like 1.25 to 1.25 to, I think, 1.5 or maybe a little bit more. I said 2 before. I don't know if it's exactly 2, but roughly like 1. I think you're safe if you have like 1.25 or 1.5 times the eyeball width in between the 2 eyeballs. So if you would add another eyeball here in the middle, if you would scale it by 1.25 and it fits in here, then that's a good width for the distance between the eyeballs. I think that's pretty good. I think this fits in here and then a little bit more, maybe even 0.5. So we're going to place it right there. And then, of course, it's still in the head. So we need to move it forward a little bit, which means we're going to go into the side view, orthographic. Actually, no, we don't need to. We don't need to. We can just, now that we have the eyeballs, I guess, horizontally, or we have them placed from the front, we can now go to the side and place them. We're just going to press G and then Y to move them forward, and they will be behind the cheekbone. The cheekbone is right here going into the middle, so it needs to be somewhere behind that. I think that's a pretty good place, maybe a little bit further back. Actually, yeah, I think that's pretty good. We can of course adjust it later too. So there's no, no worries if it's not in the right place immediately. There you go. Now that we've placed the eyes, we can go back to sculpting. So we're going to go back to the sculpting tab, or however you use to sculpt, I guess. There you go. And then let's create the eyeballs or the eyelids themselves. What we're going to use for that is we're going to use the clay strips brush. Now what we're going to do is we're going to envelop the eyeballs. So we're just going to go behind the eyeballs. Another option that you can activate to add more volume quickly is you can go to the advanced settings in your brush settings here. You go into the advanced settings and you enable accumulate. We can probably enable front faces only immediately too, because we're going to need it later. But the important setting right now is accumulate. Accumulate lets you add more volume by just brushing over the same spot over and over and over again, basically. Okay, so now that we have the eyes in the right place, now let's envelop the eyeballs. We're just going to go from the back and we're just going to do a circular motion until the eyes are basically covered. So we're going to do that. There you go. Until we have the eyeball covered. There you go. The eyeballs are covered. There's a few more things. This is basically represents the muscles with the eyelids. The eyelids go and attach to the side of the eye hole too. So we need to add a little bit more volume here on the right side and a little bit more volume on the inside too. There you go. Perfect. Okay. So we have the eyeball and eyelid in the right place. Let's actually now create the eye, I guess, the eye shape. Let's open the eye. What we're going to use for that is the crease brush. So we're going to switch back to the crease brush. There you go. And we're going to create like a nice eye shape. You could say almond shape if you want. It can be really pretty rough, of course. As we said before, we're going to adjust the eye or all the proportions in just a few, I guess, after a few more steps. Push it a little bit further so it goes all the way behind the eyeball. Okay, we can also do that later, so we don't need to do that necessarily. You can just, reveal the eye too. There you go. And then I'm going to use the crease brush while holding control to kind of refine the edge too, the edge of the eyelid. One good rule for the eye lids is that the lower eyelid just kind of barely touches the iris, and the upper eyelid covers the eyelid a little bit more. If you look at her, we can kind of see that. See how the lower eyelid just kind of touches the iris, and the upper eyelid covers probably like a third, maybe a fourth of the overall pupil. That's what we want to do here too. What I think is that the eyes are a little bit too low, so I want to move the eyeballs a little bit higher. It might be in a good place for you, but if you also want to, I guess, raise them, you can press Alt Q to switch to the eyeball, and then you can go down here to the move tools or the transform tools, and we're going to use the move tool down here. Select it, and we're just going to move it up a little bit. There you go, perfect. Love your stuff. Thank you. Sci-Fi Mushroom. I see you came from outer space to tell me that. I appreciate it. Welcome. I hope I can provide more cool stuff to you. Today came a new video released. This week we're actually going to have 3 videos. The most videos I ever uploaded in a single week. Okay, so all about sculpting. One about a full body, one about eyes that released today, and one about the nose. So if you all ever wanted to know how I sculpt the face, the parts of the face in a thorough explanation, then you're gonna be happy with those, hopefully. Or you can follow this. Okay, so we have the eyes now. We have the eye shape. Let's go. Actually, no, I kind of want to adjust the eye shape a little bit. So if you're not happy with the eye shape just yet, you can either use the crease brush to kind of adjust it a little bit more. Oh, before we do that, of course, we need to switch back to the face. So Alt Q back to the face. Now we can adjust the eye shape. There you go. I added the tear duct, refined it a little bit. Of course, it's quite rough with this amount of resolution, but that's okay. We don't really care about the detail just yet. We only really want to, I guess, establish the basics. Kind of want to adjust this a little bit more here. Make it nice and straight. Switching between grab brush and smooth brush. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, of course. There you go. Now let's go and add the fat around the eyes, because that's sort of what shapes the eye and makes it look natural, I guess. Human. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin with the lower fat, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to fill this gap here, or this sort of crease, with volume. So we're going to use the crease, the clay strips brush, this one, and we're just going to fill this up until we kind of create a nice transition from the eyelid to the cheekbone. I don't want to fully try and sort of remove the eyelid. There's still supposed to be an eyelid, but I kind of just want to fill the gap here, like this. There you go. So we still keep something like this. We can still see the eyelid, and then but we also filled the gap here that was there before. We can make this nice and smooth by just using the smooth brush. There you go. So to make a nice transition. Okay, so we filled the lower eyelid space, I guess. Let's go to the upper eyelid space. For that, there is more volume on the outside than the inside. So we need to fill this, basically how we filled this one here, by just adding more volume here. Make it nice and thick, I guess. Lay it on there. For females, you oftentimes have more volume here underneath the eyebrow, like this. And then we're going to go into the middle and sort of taper off the amount of volume that we add. So here we have a lot, and then here we have almost nothing. And we taper from here to here. So we add a little bit more, like this. So it goes from very voluminous to very deep, basically, like this. Okay? We can refine it a little bit. We can also use the smooth brush to just sort of smooth this edge here a little bit too. There you go. That's pretty good. Look at that. Looks already like a face. Okay. Perfect. I'm just going to smooth everything a little bit. Even here too on the outside, just kind of smooth it. I think what we can do is we can move the corner here a little bit further back. You oftentimes, if you look from the top, you have like a backwards slope. It's hard to explain, but what I basically just want to do is I want to move this outer corner here a little bit further backwards, like this. There you go. Okay. And then maybe smooth it too. Okay. So we have that. You do so much work. It's amazing and beautiful. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it. Okay. The eyes are in place. The nose is in place. The mouth is in place. We could add the ears now, but the ears don't really change too much when it comes to the face. So we're going to add those later. There's one more thing that I want to add that we have already added to the eyes that we haven't added to the rest of the face, which is the fat pads, the fat layer. We've added the bone layer at the beginning. We've added the muscle layer afterwards. Now we're going to add the fat layer. So we're going to go here, starting from the tear duct, and we're going to draw like a volume that is basically right here. That sort of fills the spot, makes it nice and round from the front. You can see it looks very lean right now because there's no fat sort of, I guess, filling the space. If you look at her, she has very, very round cheeks, and that's what we try to achieve right now. So we're gonna not add too much here because we already have a little bit of volume here, but we're gonna add a lot of volume down here to make it nice and round. Make this nice sort of fin shape here, or triangle, whatever you want to call it, like this. There you go, just fill this up and you can immediately see how it goes from very lean to a more rounder and softer face. There you go. We can see there's like a very big contrast between the front and the back. So we can sort of continue this volume in the back too. Before we do that, I want to add one more muscle to the whole thing. Actually, we don't really need to. All we really need to do is we need to continue this sort of, I guess, fattening or this smoothing here in the back too. Add some more volume to kind of ease the sort of sharp contrast or the sharp decline here by adding more volume here, like this. Okay. Don't worry, you can play around with the volumes. You know, we can play around with how much you add. We can all change that in a few minutes. Okay, make it nice and round. There you go. Perfect. Looks very, I guess, it kind of looks like she's doing something like this, but yeah, you know, now we're soon at that spot where we're gonna sort of, I guess, customize it a little bit more, fine tune it. But before we do that, we can see it looks kind of weird right now. She looks like she has a beard or sideburns. So let's use the smooth brush to kind of smooth everything a little bit. There you go. Also the jaw can be quite smooth. There you go. Perfect. Okay. One reason why, at least for me, she looks like she's holding her breath is that the lips are quite, I guess you could say, quite thin right now. Usually if you do this, the lips get a little bit, I guess, puckered. So we can move them a little bit outwards. So it looks a little bit more natural. They might also, oh, okay. Now we get to the next stage, okay? Now that we've, I guess, established all the big pieces of the face. Wait, you know what? Let's add the ears first and then we're gonna fine tune everything. I think without the ears, the face always looks kind of weird. So let's add the eyes first and the ears first, okay? What we do is we go to the back here. I kind of want to lower this a little bit. You can see it's quite a lot higher than the nose. And as we said in the beginning, the sort of ending here of the top part of the head is roughly on no side. So I'm going to move this a little bit lower. Not too much. I think that's good. What I want to do now is I want to switch to the mask brush. Oh, we're going to use the mask brush too. There you go, the mask brush. And we're going to draw a half heart, basically. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Draw upwards here. I guess continue this line of the jaw. And then draw a half heart like this. Oh, that's a little bit too big. Something like this. And then we're filling it out. There you go. A half heart, basically. This is the ear shape. If you haven't guessed it yet. There you go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to press Ctrl I to invert the mask. We're going to switch to the snake hook brush. There you go, to the snake hook brush. We're going to go to the back of the face and we're going to pull out sort of the, sorry, the edge of the mask here. So we're going to go to the edge of the mask and we're going to pull it to the side. we can see we haven't really pulled that much out. So we're going to rotate downwards, pull it out like this. And we're going to go to the top and pull it out here too. We're not going to do the same in the front. We're only going to have this sort of shape, this ramp basically. We can smooth it if we want. There you go. This is the ear shape. It got a little bit slimmer than the mask originally was, so we can move it a little bit outwards here to create the final ear shape. It might be quite far out. Actually, no, I think it's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So we've included the ears too. They might be a little bit big, but they're going to be hidden behind here anyway, so we don't need to do too much work with them, okay? There you go. Okay. We have the ears now. We're not going to add the details of the ear just yet. We're going to add that later. Let's go and press Alt-M to remove the mask. And now that we have all the pieces of the face, we're not going to add the neck yet just yet. We're going to fine-tune the face first. So let's look at the face now. Let's compare this one to this one and see what we can change. One change that I see here is, I think the biggest change is that the eyes are quite close together right now. Another rule for the eyes is that if you kind of take the inner corner of the eye is roughly on the same height as I guess, the widest part of the nose or the nostril, the edge of the nostril looking from the front. So if you would draw a line, it would look something like this. I think the eyes are a little bit too close together. So we're gonna, of course, the nose could also be wider, but I think I want to move the eyes a little bit further apart. So we're just gonna switch back to the eyes. Use the move brush again. And of course, for you, okay, let's preface real quick. For me, of course, the sculpt will look probably different than your sculpt. So if, I do changes that you don't think you need, then of course you don't need to do them. If you see other changes that I don't do and you want to do them, of course you can do them now. This is sort of the stage where we sort of establish a good base. This is where we establish good proportions, like how long is the nose. So a few things that you can check is how long is the nose, how big are the eyes. Well, not necessarily, maybe the eye shape, the eye position, the forehead too, the cheekbones, maybe the width of the head overall. All these proportions that can change how somebody looks. That's what we want to adjust right now. So I want to push this. Oh, hello. I want to now push the inner corner here a little bit more into the middle. There you go. That's pretty good. Okay. I think the nose is a little bit too long. And I think the face overall is a little bit too round. So there are a few things that I want to do here. The first thing that I want to do is I want to... Oh, first of all, what I want to do, I think it looks a little bit too round too. So what I want to do is I want to go to the side of the face and I want to move it a little bit more into the middle. Not too much, just a little bit like that. It doesn't have to be a huge change. I think that's already enough. And then I want to move the jaw here a little bit into the middle too. Of course, that already changed the shape of the jaw from the bottom, so we're going to move that into the middle here too. Make it like a nice V shape here. There you go. Okay. She still looks very bloated. Another good rule, very important rule, is the position of the corner of the lip. We've really only sculpted the lips, but what you can see from mine, for example, is she looks kind of, she's puckered her lips like this. She moved her lips forward and kind of moved them together, I guess you could say. She puckered them. And a good rule for the corner of the mouth position, looking from the side, is if you place it between the space of somewhere in the space between the ending of the nostril here and the eyelid. So somewhere in this space here, basically, or somewhere in here. That's what we want to do here too. So we're going to go and select the grab brush. I'm just going to move it back a little bit. Maybe to right there. It kind of depends on how, I guess, how flat your face is. That sounds kind of weird, but yeah. For some people it looks good if it's right on the height of the nostril where it ends. For some people it's better if it's sort of further back. That's sort of how you can customize your character. But that's definitely a better spot than what it was before. I also want to smooth everything a little bit. we have a little bit too much volume actually. Let me save this real quick. There you go. Okay. As I said before too, I think the either the eyes are a little bit too high or the nose is too low. Let me try both. I want to try if the eyes, lowering the eyes looks better, or the nose, moving the nose higher looks better. Of course, it looks kind of weird right now, but let's see. I think I kind of like that. Before it gets quite big, though. We can maybe even just raise the... I kind of want to raise... Let's see what it looks like if we raise the nose now. Or we can do that by just masking the eyes. Like this. Okay, and then we can... Batman, basically. There you go. And then we can grab the grab brush again and just kind of move it up. That definitely helps. That's better. The chin is quite big, although it looks pretty good. So I think that's pretty good now. We definitely changed the proportions for the better. I think that's better than lowering the eyes. Okay. A few more things here and there. Kind of want to move the corner here of the eyebrows a little bit more into the middle. Right here, okay. And then I also want to smooth the jaw a little bit. The edge of the jaw. There you go. There's actually one thing that we haven't done yet. And that is, we haven't added the chin yet. Let's add the chin real quick. The way we're going to do this is we're going to begin with the crease brush. We're going to use the crease brush and we're just going to really draw like a small little curve down here. We're just going to crease down here like this. Then we're going to switch to the clay strips brush. We're going to add a little bit more volume here on the side to the lip. So it sort of evens out the lip, makes it nice. It makes a good transition right there. Doesn't have to be too much. There you go. And then we're going to add the chin. The chin is fairly simple. What we're going to do is we're going to go in here. We're going to start from the middle underneath the lip. And we're going to draw outwards like this in this V shape to kind of establish the shape. And then we can fill the middle too to create the chin shape. There you go. Okay. And then to ease it into the rest of the jaw, we're going to create like a line going from here outwards to the back. Maybe not that steep, maybe something more like this to make it nice and easy. And then smoothing it to make it nice and easy. There you go. Okay. I think the chin is a little bit too voluminous right now. So we can also just use the smooth brush again, kind of get rid of some of this volume to make it a little bit easy, I guess. There you go. Okay. That looks pretty good. A few more things here and there. I want to lower the eyebrows a little bit. So I'm going to move them lower just a little bit. Overall, that should be good. Okay. Keep in mind that if you have the eyebrow higher in the middle than on the outside, she's gonna look a little bit, I guess, sad, like this, you know? If the eyebrow is lower, way lower than the middle, the outer corner, I guess, it's gonna look angry. And then of course, if it's roughly on the same height, it looks fairly neutral. Okay. There are a few things that I want to do here. I kind of want to, for me at least, we can see kind of what I want to do here is I want to fill this up with a little bit more volume. A good sort of... One thing to keep in mind is that the eye, if you follow the eye shape, it sort of creates this line going back to the head, going back through the head. So if you start from the inner corner of the eye, go to the outer corner of the eye, and then follow that like this, that's a good sort of shape to keep in mind, because the cheekbone is nice and round all the way up to this line. There you go. Near the eye, like this. And then the other part here is also a little bit rounder like this. There you go. So there's like this very clear line here between the cheekbone and the eyebrows. There you go. I think I also want to move the, as we said before, the corner of the jaw is roughly on the mouth height. We can raise it a little bit. There you go. I think that's pretty good. Okay. I think that's those are some good changes. There are a few more things that I want to do to finalize it. Let's go to the nose. We're going to use the crease brush, and we're going to add the nose holds now. To add the nose holds, we're going to go, of course, down here to the bottom of the nose, and we're going to add 2 ovals that are sort of pointing upwards into the tip of the nose. So it looks something like this. There you go. Okay, something like this. Okay, so we've added the nose holes. We can now smooth the edge that we've just created. This sort of, hole. We can smooth the edge of that hole. There you go. That looks pretty good. If you need to adjust it a little bit, of course, you can use the crease brush. You can use the move brush. Whatever you need to kind of fine tune it a little bit. Okay. Make the nose a little bit rounder. Okay, perfect. Okay. A few more things that I want to do is I want to kind of continue this crease right here because it stops very abruptly. I just want to kind of remove some volume here to kind of ease this crease into the rest of the nose. Kind of remove some of this volume here. There you go. Okay, that's better. So we get this sort of triangle shape here. Okay. Another thing is I want to, right now the forehead is quite round. I kind of want to move it a little bit further back. There you go. What you can oftentimes see for females is that the sort of transition from the nose to the forehead right here is quite round. So something, or quite smooth you could say. So something more like this. There you go. Okay. And then a few more things to kind of get it closer to what Neon looks like. What she looks like from the side. I want to move the nose a little bit back. I want to make the nose a little bit rounder too. So I'm going to go to the nose tip and just kind of make it a little bit rounder like this. There you go. Maybe even move the nostril a little bit further forward. Okay. And then I want to move the upper lip here a little bit further back. Okay. I think that's probably all we really need to do now. Now that we've adjusted the proportions a little bit, I think now it's in a good spot. We can go to the next part, which is basically adding the rest of the bust, basically the neck and shoulders. It's not too hard, okay? I promise. Let's do that now. Before we do that, I'm gonna save real quick. Okay. Actually, I kind of want to move the jaw a little bit further forward. It's quite far back. There you go, that's better. I think a good estimation is when the jaw is in the middle of the head, and then the ear is behind that, basically. There you go, that's better. Yeah. So the jaw in the middle of the head, and then the ears behind that. Okay. Let's go to the bottom of the face, or the head. We're going to use the mask brush, and we're going to draw a circle right here. Fill that out. Okay. We're going to continue. We're going to add like a small triangle here in the front, like this. So it looks like a balloon, I guess you could say. We're going to press Ctrl I to invert the selection. We're going to switch to the snake hook brush, and we're gonna pull down the neck basically. So we're gonna grab this and we're gonna pull it down like this. Okay. I want to smooth the bottom because it's quite steep right now. So we're gonna smooth it like this to make it nice and flat basically, or somewhat flat. Doesn't have to be perfectly flat, but a little bit, I guess, better than what it was before. I think that's already enough. Okay. I also want to make the neck a little bit slimmer. So I'm just going to move it into the middle a little bit, like this. There you go. That's pretty good. Okay. One thing to keep in mind for the neck is that the neck is has a slight tilt backwards. I don't know if you can see it with me. You can see here how there's like a slight backwards tilt here. See how it's going backwards diagonally? We want to add that by not moving this backwards, but rather by adding like a small dip here in the back. So we're just gonna, even though we have it masked, we can still move it inwards a little bit to do something like this, basically. Add like a small dip here in the back. We can also smooth it. There you go. So it'll look something like this. We can do the same in the front, but not, well, to make it diagonal, we don't want to add a dip. We really only want to move this part a little bit further back. So we have this nice diagonal line here. Okay. Let's go and add the chest, or the neck. The way we do this is we go to the bottom here. We're going to select the edge down here, and we're going to create a diagonal line downwards. We can basically kind of take the jaw as reference and make it a little bit steeper than that. You can see the jaw has a certain steepness, I guess. We're going to make it a little bit steeper than that. So we're going to select this here with the snake hook brush enabled, and we're going to drag it down like this. Okay, doesn't have to be too far, something like that. Then we're going to go to the back of the face, or the head. We're going to select the outer edges here, and we're going to pull them to the side, like this. There you go. This basically sort of outlines the neck. We're going to go to the back too, and we're going to draw a line downwards, like this. Okay, we can maybe even push it inwards a little bit. There you go, that's better. Okay, so we have these 4 legs, I guess, which basically sort of outlines the shape of the neck. So now let's fill out the neck. To fill out the neck, we're going to use the snake hook brush again, and we're just going to pull this forward until we kind of create like a V shape, basically. There you go, we have the front. We do the same on the back. Doesn't matter if it doesn't look like a human right now, but that's not the goal. We only really want to create the volume to make it look like a human. Okay, there you go. You can use the smooth brush again to make it a little bit smoother. Okay. So now that we have the V shape, it is still not filled up. We need volume here in the middle too. So we're going to use the clay strips brush again and just kind of fill up this volume. If you haven't yet, go to the clay brush settings and enable front faces only. Otherwise you're going to destroy your sculpt. Okay. And then we're going to fill this up. Now that we have filled it up, we're going to use the smooth brush to just kind of make it nice and smooth. Okay, perfect. Looks pretty angry, but that's okay. Let me drink something real quick and then we're going to continue. I'm actually going to sit down and then we're going to continue. Hold on. let's continue. Okay, so now that we have this, whatever it's supposed to be, the start of the neck, okay. First thing that I want to make sure is I want to grab we're going to use the grab brush. And we're going to move this corner a little bit higher, the outer corner. So that this sort of V shape here is a little bit more horizontal. Just going to move it up a little bit, like this. I think that's pretty good. So this is basically higher than the middle. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is I want to go to the side, or look at it from the top, the outer edge here, or the outer corner. And I want to I want to make this rounder. To make this rounder, I'm going to just select these two edges here, and I'm going to move them outwards a little bit, like this. There you go. The back we can make rounder too, by just using the grab brush and moving it outwards like this. Okay, that's pretty good. We can see there's some volume missing there, but we're going to care about that later. Now that we've added some more volume here, that's good. There's one more thing that I want to do, is I want to go down here to the bottom. I want to select the mask brush, and I want to select all the volume down here, all the surface down here, the whole surface. Now I'm gonna invert this. Oh, hold on. I had to remove the mask first. Okay, let's do it again. I'm gonna mask all of this down here. It didn't work because we already had a mask for the face, and I didn't remove that mask, so we now need to do it again. Okay, or at least I do. There you go. Everything's selected. We invert the mask, and we select the move brush, this one here, with the transform move tool. We're going to select the Z-axis and just pull it down a little bit, so we have some more room here. There you go. Okay, we can then Alt-M to remove it. We don't have more volume as it seems. It stretches these vertices. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly just use the clay strips brush to create more geometry down here. We're just going to draw over the new stretched faces to add more geometry to them. There you go. And then we can smooth it again to make it nice and smooth. Okay, so we already have some shoulders. Okay, perfect. Now let's go to the actual, let's refine the shape a little bit. What I want to do now is I want to add the clavicle here, the middle bone here. The way we do that is, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the middle. We're going to sort of determine the, I guess the neck length. Or what you can also do is you can use the shoulder height as a rule. It should be somewhere on shoulder height or a little bit lower. For her, I think we can go to shoulder height. Right here. And we're going to draw a V shape here in the middle underneath the face, like this. Just a V shape like this. Okay. Once we have the V shape, we're going to continue the V outwards all the way to the shoulder. So we're just going to draw a line like this. This is basically the clavicle. It's not in the right place just yet, but it's very easy to change it. So it looks like this. From the front it looks pretty good, but from the top it looks weird. Because what we need to do is we make this round. We need to make this rounder. So we're going to use the grab brush. And we're going to select the clavicle, or this line that we've drawn. And we're going to move it forward a little bit. So it looks a little bit like this. We get this sort of S shape here. The front is nice and round, and then it goes to the shoulder like this. Okay. We can see this weird, or I can see this weird bump. If you have the same, you can just use the smooth brush and make it a little bit flatter. You can also now smooth the bottom part of the clavicle here a little bit too. There you go. One thing that I want to adjust, because of the smoothing, we've removed the steep decline, I guess, that we had before. So what I want to do is I want to move this a little bit further forward. like this. Bring back the decline again. Of course, to make it less sharp, we can do the same, or we should do the same all over the middle. Like this. Make it nice and round in the front. The bottom doesn't have to be perfect. This is only really to kind of build the base for the clothing. Okay. Now that we have that, if you want to determine the shoulder width can be like one head width, basically. So if you have the head right here, and we add another head to the side, that can be the shoulder width. Shoulder width can also be a little bit slimmer for females. So I think something like, I think that's pretty good. Okay, there you go. We're almost there. We need to do a few more things here and there. Let's refine the neck, okay? For the neck, what we want to do is we're going to draw a line from underneath the nose. I mean the ears, not the nose, okay? If you have nose on the side of your head, there's something wrong, okay? You just call your doctor. We're going to go from underneath the ear. We're going to draw a line from here all the way into the middle to the V. Basically from here, going upwards to the ear. Doesn't have to be too super, I guess, strong. I just want to include it here. There you go. Add the volume right there. Can be thinner down here than it is at the top. So here it can be quite wide and then it gets thinner until it reaches the V. And then what I want to do is I want to just kind of smooth everything. We mostly remove most of this volume again, but that's exactly what I wanted. There you go. Okay. Quite smooth now. Perfect. We could maybe even smooth it a little bit more so that we have a thinner neck. Okay. So now we have added that muscle. There are a few more muscles that we need to add. Let's go to the side here and go to the back muscle. Back muscle, the trapezius. No, I think it's trapezius. It's fairly simple. Go to the word roughly sort of has this like curve here outwards. Or to, I guess, the third of this, I guess, bone here. Go to the third, so 1/3, 2/3 to the second third, I guess. And we're going to draw a line from here back, like this, diagonally. And then we're going to go draw it upwards to the head, basically, like this. So it looks something like this. Looking from the front, it looks like this. We basically just draw a line from here into the middle and then upwards to the back of the head, like this. Another one we need to draw is from where we just ended. We draw downwards, like this. Then we go outwards a little bit, like this. And then we go inwards again, like this. There you go. Okay. There's one more we need to do to finish the muscle shape. We go from here, down here, and we draw a line to basically where this bone ends, like this. This is basically the trapezius muscle. We haven't added volume yet, but we have outlined the muscle. Okay, now that we've outlined the muscle, let's add more volume to it. So we just do that by doing this nice, I guess a wave motion here. And we're going to add more muscle, more volume to it, like this. It doesn't necessarily, we don't need to follow a certain structure. We could do that for the muscle to kind of, I guess, highlight the muscle structure a little bit more, but that's not really necessary. We just want to add some more volume to it. Not too much, but a little bit more. Basically fill the lines with the shape that we've just drawn, like this. Okay? So it looks something like this. And then I want to smooth it again. I like to tab my smooth brush because then I can apply it a little bit lighter. If I just apply it, you can see it's very, very strong. If I just tap it, I can very, very specifically smooth a certain area. Very, very lightly. Okay. Okay. There are a few more things that I want to change. What I want to change first is this tip looks kind of weird right now. I think what I want to do is I want to push this even further into the front. And then we can see we have we need to remove a little bit more volume here. This is the furthest part. Well, it's hard to explain, but I want to remove some of this volume here, just to kind of ease the transition from this muscle here to this muscle. Like this, and then smooth it. Okay. I also want to smooth the transition from the muscle to the back of the head, so I just smooth that too. There you go. I have this weird bump here that I want to remove. There you go. Okay, perfect. Looking from the front, it looks like this. I think that's pretty good. Generally speaking, the muscles of females are a little bit, I guess, smaller, you could say. So we don't have like huge trap muscles, for example. I think that's pretty good. Let's go to one more thing we need to adjust, which is the mouth, basically. She doesn't have a mouth yet. We need to add a mouth. Basically, we want to fill this space here. Basically, this triangle here. That's what I want to fill right now. To fill it, fairly simple. We're going to use the clay strips brush. And then we're just going to ease the transition from the neck to the jaw. We're just going to add some more volume here. We can do it in the front, like this. We can then also go to the side here and kind of smooth the jawline too. Or of course you can also give her like a, like a dangerously sharp jawline, but I think for her it makes more sense to have like a more smooth jawline like this. There you go. And then we can maybe even, at least I want to move the front here, where the Adam's apple is, basically just a little bit further forward, like that. There you go. So it looks like this. Okay. One thing that I kind of think is a little bit weird right now is the top of the head. It looks quite big, so I kind of want to adjust it a little bit. Now that we've added the neck, we can do a few more adjustments here and there. I think I want to change the top of the head a little bit. I want to move it down a little bit. Also probably a little bit back here. A few things here and there. Now that we've added the neck, we can kind of go over everything again and see if you want to do some proportional adjustments. I don't want to do too much, but a few things here and there can't hurt. Smooth if you need to. Okay. If we see that with the top of the head looks kind of blocky, what you can do is you can just use the smooth brush and kind of smooth everything. Still looking at it from the front, you can kind of smooth the edges a little bit. There you go. I think that's pretty good. I want to kind of see what it looks like if I just move the... Sometimes I do these experiments where I just kind of move something very high up to see if it makes a positive impact or a negative. So if I would move this down, for example, it looks kind of weird. But maybe if I move this up a little bit, see, it looks... I think it looks a little bit better. If I look at it from the front, it looks kind of too wide now. But that's not too bad because we can just move it into the middle a little bit. That's how I like to do some changes in my proportions, for example. That's also how you can do adjustments in EQ, I guess, in sound design. You can do big changes first to see if the change is positive, and then you can fine-tune it a little bit to get to a more, I guess, acceptable amount of change. And I think that's pretty good. There you go. Yeah, I think that was a positive impact. Another thing that I want to try is moving the jaw a little bit further. I mean, the chin a little bit further back. Maybe even the nose. Oh, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. She's Philippine, so more like an Asian influence, in her look. I want to kind of keep that in place. Asians oftentimes have a little bit flatter face, so the nose bridge isn't as sort of protruding looking from the side. So I think something like this looks pretty good. Okay. There you go. That's what we have now. We're gonna, oh, okay. Because we want to add the shoulders too, there's one more muscle that I want to add, which is of course the shoulder muscle. To add the shoulder muscle, fairly simple, maybe interesting for Hustler. Okay. We're gonna use the clay brush again, and the shoulder is basically made out of 3 muscles. The first muscle is in the middle, basically. Well, let's begin with the front. Okay. The front muscle is basically sort of a continuous line. If you kind of take the neck muscle here and follow it, the shoulder muscle sort of continues this line and goes like this. Okay, so all we need to do is we kind of need to add a little bit more volume here in the front, going outwards basically, like this. There you go. That's the front shoulder. The middle shoulder is somewhere in between, of course, the front and the back shoulder, like this. So something like this. We just kind of add like a sharp edge here, so I can just add a little bit more volume here. And then for the back shoulder, it is basically underneath where the trapezius is, and which means it's basically, hold on, basically like here. So to do that, we just kind of add some more volume. We can also outline it again. It would be something like this. That's a little bit too much. More like this. And then we just add some more volume here. Not too much. That's pretty good. And then we smooth it again. And then we already added the shoulder. There you go. We could, if you want to, we can also kind of fine tune the chest. We're not going to add the boobies. But we wanted to focus on the head mostly and the shoulders. So I think we can actually just keep this now. Okay. Let's go back to the face. Now that we have made all the adjustments, we've added all the muscles, and we've finished the neck basically. Actually, I think we can, the bottom looks quite wide. I kind of want to make her back a little bit thinner by just moving it a little bit further forward. That's better. Yeah. That's better. A little bit thinner. Perfect. Okay. Let's go back to the face. So now that we have all the parts of the face, I think it's time to refine the face. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add more resolution to the face, basically. We're going to go to the sculpt settings here. And, oh, we need to select, let's use these crease brush. Let's use the crease brush. We're going to go down here to the dynamic topology settings, and we're going to switch this from 20 to 50. We go to the next step of resolution. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the simplify brush, which is this one basically. And the simplify brush is basically there to add more resolution to your sculpt. To see how you add more resolution, you can press first Shift Z to switch to X-ray view or wireframe view, and then you can press Alt Z to switch to the solid view. There you go. Now if you apply the brush, you're not going to change the volume. All you're going to do is you're going to add more resolution to your sculpt. So what we want to do now is we want to add more resolution to the face basically. So we're just going to apply it. It might be a little bit laggy if your PC is a little bit, I guess, on the weaker side. We're also going to include the ear. There you go. And then we're going to probably stop there and just go upwards and fill the rest of the face. We don't need to the back of the head because it's going to be covered by hair anyway. There you go. We don't really need the neck either. We really only want to focus on the face right now. So now that we've, added more geometry to the face, we can go back with Shift Z to the solid view. Now what I want to do is I want to actually specifically select the smooth brush, and I want to go to the smooth brush settings. There's a setting called deformation that I want to change. I want to change it from laplation to surface. There are a few settings that we need to change. Shape preservation to 0.75. Vertex per vertex displacement can stay on 0. And then iterations can go to 5. There you go. Now what I want to do is I want to just basically brush over the face. It's not going to change the volume too much. It's only really going to smooth everything and going to reveal the new amount of resolution. So if we do it now, you can see, woo, everything is a little bit smoother. There you go. Okay, now we have we can now basically refine the face. So what I want to do first is I want to kind of use a combination of crease brushes and the smooth brush to refine, or to kind of, I guess, define the shapes a little bit more. For this stuff here, for example, you can see it's quite a stark like crease here. We can use the smooth brush. Oh, before we use the smooth brush, of course, we need to change it back from surface to laplation, and then we can use it to kind of smooth some edges here, for example. Like right here, for example, too. And then in combination with that, we can use the crease brush to define the shapes a little bit more in detail. We can refine them now. So for the nostril, for example, we can do a nice round nostril here, like this. We can see there's like volume missing here, so we can use it too to add some more volume here, like this. We can use the smooth brush again, smooth everything. We can go into the fine-tuning details when it comes to, I guess, the fine details a little bit later. What I want to do now is I want to just kind of, give everything, I guess, kind of refine the edges, for example, and, go through everything first to make sure everything's sort of on the new level of resolution. And then we can kind of, I guess, fine-tune the proportions and the specific look of everything a little bit more. I don't know if that makes sense. Let's go to the eyes. I'm going to use the crease brush again to just kind of refine the edge with the eyelid, like this. Go and add the tear duct too, like this. Add the lower eyelid. I don't want to let it protrude so much, so we can use the smooth brush here, for example, to make it a little bit smoother. There you go. Same for the top. I want to make it a little bit smoother here too. There you go. Okay. Now we come to the big one, the lips. The lips look kind of weird. Look like a, I don't know, like a beak. Let's give them actually some shape. What we're gonna do is we're actually not gonna use the crease brush, or well, let's begin with the crease brush and the smooth brush. We're actually gonna use the smooth brush first. We're gonna smooth the edge here a little bit in the middle, and then the further we go out, the more we're gonna smooth it, like this. Okay. So it's still a little bit, it's still sharp in the middle and less sharp on the outside. Now what we're going to do, we can probably do the same for the bottom lip too. There you go. Now let's give them actually some volume. We're going to use the clay strips brush, and we're going to draw the shapes of the lips. So the shapes of the lips are 3 at the top and 2 at the bottom. The 3 at the top, there's 1 in the middle in a V shape going from the middle of the lips to these 2 corners here. We're just going to draw that and give it some more volume, make it nice and round. Looking from the side, it looks like this, maybe even a little bit more. Okay. And then we go and do the same for these triangles here. We're just kind of adding some more volume here to make it look like this. Maybe even a little bit more. So we can then ease it. We can use the smooth brush again and just kind of ease everything. Okay, that's the top lip, top part of the lip. Let's go to the lower lip. For the lower lip, we have there's a slight change, I guess. We only have two, I guess, volumes here at the bottom, two shapes, which are basically one on the right side and one on the left side, with a little crease here in the middle. Sometimes the crease is sort of filled more, sometimes the crease is filled less. But let's create the two shapes first. Basically, we're just going to draw these two circles here in the front, like this. Okay. Then we're going to connect them in the middle. Sometimes the crease is a little bit deeper like this. Sometimes it's a little bit flatter, filled up more, I guess you could say, like this. I think for her it's a little bit flatter, let's say. Okay. A big difference between the upper lip and the lower lip is that the upper lip volume sort of continues all the way to the end, to the corner of the lip. But the lower lip, I guess, volume sort of ends here. You can oftentimes see like a small line, a small line going from here, like this. It looks something like this. Oh. So this is the volume up top, and the volume, below, and the volume up top looks something like this. Okay. A few more things that I want to do to refine the lips even more. I want to resharpen, or I want to reshape the lips a little bit right now. We have some very standard lip shape right now. We can bring it closer to what she has. The first thing that I want to do is I want to just move the two corners here a little bit more into the middle. Like this. You can even smooth this, make it shallower. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing that I want to do is I want to sharpen the outer corner a little bit. I want to go from the corner of the lips and hold Control to draw, and basically just go from here. I want to make it less strong. I just kind of draw a line from here to the corner up top. The next thing that I want to do is I want to go to the corner again, and I want to draw a line, a diagonal line that goes a little bit above the line that we just drew. So it looks like this. Looking from the front, it looks like this. We've created some weird volumes. So what we're going to do is we're going to smooth them, make them nice and flat, like this. Same for this one. Okay. There you go. Thank you for the subscription, Mr. Digital Works. I appreciate it. If you're here on stream, if you're here watching the stream, hope you enjoyed the stream. Let's go to the lower lip. For the lower lip, there are a few things that I want to do. The first thing is we have a little bit more volume, here at the sort of corner than I want to have here. Usually a good rule is that the lower lip is a little bit slimmer looking from the front than the upper lip. To do that, we can basically just use the crease brush and just kind of remove some volume here. Not too much, just a little bit like this. And then we can smooth it again. Okay. If it's a little bit too round, we can also, just gonna bring back a little bit. Okay. Now that we've kind of refined the lips, they got quite thin, so we can move them out again. Or, as you can see for her, the corner of the lips is further out than than where the lips sort of meet in the middle here. You know what? It's kind of hard to explain. Like, this line goes further than where the corner of the two lips, bottom and top lip, where they sort of reach the middle. So what we could do is we could just go here to the corner, and just kind of draw a corner. I mean, continue the corner by drawing it a little bit downwards like this. And then lower, smooth it a little bit again. There you go. I think it's still a little bit too thin, so we're just going to move it outwards a little bit. Not too much. Okay. A few more adjustments that I want to do to the lips themselves. They look very big right now. I kind of want to bring them closer to what she has, I guess. So we're going to make the lower lip a little bit thinner, moving them up like this. And I think the top lip looks pretty good. One more thing we can check is the bottom check, I guess you could call it. So if you go below the lips, do they have a nice arch here? It should be quite round. Right now we have more, I guess, a weight here than I want. So we can move it backwards a little bit, make it nice and make it nice and round like this. Same for the top lip. There you go. I think that's pretty good. Okay. Make everything nice and smooth here. Okay. The chin looks a little bit too wide than I want it to be. So we're just gonna, I guess, move it closer a little bit. And then smooth it. There you go. Okay. We have this weird bump here, I have. So I'm gonna smooth this too. Make sure everything is nice and smooth. Human faces are very, you know, have the characteristic of being very smooth. So I kind of want to make sure that everything stays nice and smooth. There you go. Okay. I think what I want to go to next is the nose. I want to kind of, I guess, you know, refine the nose a little bit. One thing that sort of bothers me right now is I think it's a little bit too wide now that we've refined it a little bit. So I'm going to move it into the middle just a little bit. There you go. Same for the tip of the nose. Okay. I think the sort of side view looks pretty good, but I want to change I want to give the nose a better structure, basically. I want to refine the structure. So let's kind of think about what the nose is made out of. We have the nose bridge here at the top, of course. Then we have the nose tip. Oh, well, we have the nostrils here, and then we have the nose tip. The nose tip is basically made out of two pieces, which basically are sort of mirrored to either side, and they look something like, oh, hello, something like this. These two wings, I guess you could say. The wings add sort of the volume to the nose tip. We don't really have those wings yet, so let's add those. You kind of look at her lip, her nose. She has like a, I guess, pretty round nose. Right now the nose is quite sort of pointy for me. So to add more volume, we can just add a little bit more volume here to the side, for example. Not too much, just a little bit, and then going down into the middle of the nose, like this. There you go. To kind of add some more volume to it. Okay. Now that we have that, there's one more thing that I want to do. I want to go to the bottom here, where the nostril sort of transitions to the tip of the nose, and I want to smooth this little triangle that we see here. This little triangle here. I want to smooth that a little bit. So we're just going to smooth it like this. You can see that in a lot of noses. There you go. Looks pretty big right now. I think I want to move the outer region here. Now that we've refined the structure a little bit more into the middle, like this. I think that's pretty good. And then I want to smooth it again to make it nice and smooth. There you go. I think that looks pretty good. A few more things I want to adjust. One thing that I want to adjust is the nostril shape from the side. There's like a small bump here that you can see. We can just smooth that. There you go. I think that's pretty good. Oh, there you go. If you want to, you can highlight that a lot. What you can do is you can draw a line from the bottom of the nose and draw it basically to the corner of the nostril down here, like this, if you want to. We can probably do that. And then there's one more thing that I want to do. Up here, it's quite round right now. I want to flatten that a little bit. I'm just going to remove some more volume by smoothing it. Even it out, let's say. Like this. Okay. Love that you're using Dyn Topo, as it seems that there are a lot of artists that only use remesh. Yeah, remeshes. I've never really used remesh. I don't really like the concept of remeshing in sculpting because it removes the detail that you've created before, and yeah, I don't like it, so I don't use it. Basically, I like to just, you know, add more resolution when I need it, and start from very low, basically. Okay. So we refined the nose, we refined the lips. Let's go to the eyes. Before we go to the fat, we kind of refine the fat, and then we can basically go to the ear, and then once we have the ear, we can go and add the hair. So let's go to the eyes first. What I want to do for the eyes is I want to, first of all, add a little fold that you can see above the eye. Above the eye, you oftentimes have, of course, fat, of course, here, which is this part here. And because there's fat in a sort of, well, if you open your eyelid, well, you have, this is basically the maximum amount of eyelid that you have. And if you open the eyelid, where does the eyelid go? It basically wraps around the eyeball inside of you, like, and creates this crease above the eyelid or the eye opening, which is basically right here. You can see that in the reference too, right there. So what I want to do is I want to use the crease brush, and I just want to draw a line from here, parallel to the upper, I guess, eye corner, you could say, or eye edge, like this, to create that shape, or to create that fold. There you go. We can make it a little bit rounder, or kind of ease the transition here, because we've created quite a sharp shape by just using the smooth brush again. There you go. Perfect. I think I want to do, well, the eye looks pretty good already. I don't want to do too much more. Maybe we can do some fine tuning here. That's more, I guess, you know, subjective. You can do that too if you want to, just kind of minimizing the distance from the lower eyelid here, basically, like this. Okay. Are you using a mouse or a pen tablet? I am using a pen tablet. Yep, that's what I use. Okay, the eyes already look better, but they're not done yet. Few things here and there. First things first, now that we've refined the nose and made it a little bit smaller, we can see, if we now draw a line from here up, we can see the corner is a little bit further out than it needs to be. So what we can do is we can move it back into the middle a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. In terms of refining the eye shape, I think the eye shape looks pretty good. One more thing that I want to do is I want to kind of look at the eye from up top. The tear duct is quite far forward right now. It needs to wrap around the eye a little bit more. So I'm just going to select it with the grab brush and just kind of move it back a little bit. Like this. There you go. Because we've pushed everything this far back into the face, we've created this sort of hole here. Using the smooth brush or even the crease brush, we can even that out again. A characteristic that you can give your characters is by sort of maybe making the crease brush very, very fine, very, very weak, and then sort of refining or sort of highlighting the sort of eye hole, or because the eye hole is only really filled with fat. Sometimes you can very, very clearly see like a small line, basically the edge of the eye hole in someone's face if they, for example, are very lean. So if you want to refine, your character's face or give him some more character by adding this line right here. But she has a quite round... you know what? Why don't we do that? I think that could add a little bit of character. It's a little bit too strong right now. I want to smooth it a little bit. Okay. You know what? No, I don't like it. I'm going to get rid of it. There you go. Welcome back, Scally Blocks. Hope you enjoyed your... What? Welcome back, I mean. Okay. There's one more line that I forgot for the nose, which is very important. We're gonna add that now. We're gonna go from the nostril here, where the corner is here, and we're gonna draw a line to the inner corner, I guess, of the eye hole. So we're gonna go from here and draw a line backwards all the way to here. There you go. Make it quite deep. That's okay. Then we're gonna just kind of, I guess, ease this crease again by just smoothing it. Not only here, but also here. And then we're gonna smooth it again to create a nice transition. Like this. That's better. If you want, you can also go to the side here and create like a diagonal line. So this diagonal line you can see here kind of ends at the bottom of the nostril, but it should, because it's the laughing fold that gets created if you smile, for example. It goes from the top of the nose downwards to the mouth corner. So it should start somewhere here and then go downwards like this. That's better. There you go. There you go. Looks already more natural. She's quite young, so we're going to smooth it. She's not supposed to look old. So we're going to smooth that again. It looks something more like this then. There you go. Okay. Oh, another thing. You can't really... you don't really notice it too much if you have an eye that looks like this. But of course, there would be a pupil or like a... the pupil wouldn't be flat like this. It would be round. So what we actually need to do is we need to make the eyelid round too. So we need to move it forward like this. Same for the bottom. Bottom looks okay. There you go. Another thing. The upper eyelid is, I guess you could say, further forward than the lower eyelid. Looking from the side. Right now it's not really the case. Actually, yeah, I think it is actually. No, I think it is. What I want to adjust real quick is I want to move the eyeball a little bit higher. I think it's a little bit low right now. Let's see if that looks good. If I just move it a little bit higher. You know what? No, I like it there. I like it there. Okay. So we've refined the eyes, we've refined the nose, we've refined the lips, we've refined the chin. If you want to give her a different expression, of course, what you can do is you just kind of move it however you want, you know. We're not going to go through facial expressions right now. That's not what I want to do here. The last thing that we could adjust is the sort of the eyebrows. One thing that I want to do is I kind of want to move. We can see like an edge that gets created by the shading here. That is something like a plane right here, a plane right here, like here and here, and then a plane right here. That's those are sort of the planes of the face, and then of course we have a few more over here. I want to refine this edge here a little bit more. So I'm just going to use the crease brush again and just kind of add some more volume here. There you go. Smooth it. Perfect. Now is also a good time to sort of look through everything, look over everything, and see if there's any volume I want to smooth. I think everything looks pretty good. We can now also rotate around the face and see if we want to adjust something. I think one thing that I want to adjust, actually no. Well, no, I think that's pretty good. You know what? No, hold on. I want to move this corner here a little bit further back. I'm just going to take it and pull it back. There you go. Make the forehead a little bit rounder, basically. Okay. There you go, perfect. Now, as I said before, we can go to the ear. Ear looks pretty rough still. Let's put in some more, okay? First of all, we can smooth the edge a little bit. Then what I want to do is I want to separate the ear. I want to create the actual ear shape here. If you haven't yet, we can go to the crease brush settings here. And I want to enable front faces only here too. That can save us sometimes when we don't really destroy the sculpt, but we don't need to fix anything afterwards, basically. If we have this enabled. Okay. Going to the back of the ear. To the bottom where the eyelid is. I want to cut off, or I want to create a crease separating the eyelid from the jaw, basically. And then I want to just create a line that sort of follows the ear edge, the outer ear edge. So it looks something like this. Just kind of following parallel to the ear edge. Like this. Ending right there. Okay. Make it nice and deep. The next step, I want to kind of remove a I want to remove a triangle somewhere over here. I think that's a pretty good amount, maybe even a little bit less, more like this. Like this. I want to kind of remove this triangle here as a volume. So we're going to use the crease brush again and just kind of dig in here, remove this volume. There you go. And then there are a few more things we need to do. Use the crease brush again and dig in here, because this part here needs to be deeper than this part here. So we're just going to use the crease brush very, very strongly and just kind of dig in here. So we can create the sort of round part here in the middle between the two creases that we've created. Okay, so now that we have this round volume, let's smooth it, and then it should give us a pretty good ear shape. At least from the back. You don't really necessarily see the ear from the back too much, but it's still important. Maybe go a little bit deeper here too. Refine it a little bit. It's going to be underneath the hair, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. And then you can see we have some sharp creases here too. Just smooth those too, so we get something more organic. Like this. Okay. We can see the transition from the ear to the rest of the face is also quite sharp. So we can smooth that too, but just kind of going over it. There you go. Okay. Let's create the ear itself. The ear itself is fairly simple, okay? It's probably one of the simplest parts of the face. To do it, I'm going to show you how I do it. So what I do first is I basically create a C shape going from roughly here on the ear and following the edge, the outer edge, like this. Following the outer edge all the way to up top, right there. Increasing the strength a little bit, like this first. That's the first part, the C shape basically. Thank you for the subscription, Dylan Bilostowski. I appreciate it, thank you. If you're here on stream, hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you had a great day. Now that we have the first shape, we continue the shape into the ear, into the middle of the ear. Basically like this. There you go. Like a small hook. And then what I want to do is I want to basically create another loop, a U shape at the bottom. So we do a U shape like this. Make it quite deep. So that's the first part of the ear. Now let's add the small, I guess, the ear hole, which is also fairly simple. We kind of take this lower U part of the U shape and we continue it like this. Add another U shape on top of it, I guess you could say. Like this. Okay. So now we have the ear hole. The next step that I want to do is I want to sort of just add a small little line here. Not too much, just a little bit like this. Okay. It looks quite deep right here. The crease is quite deep. I want to kind of ease the transition from here to here. So this edge needs to go. We're going to smooth the edge like this. Okay, now that we just smoothed the edge, let's add another edge basically by going from here, using control to add additively with the crease brush. We're going to hold control and just kind of draw a line around the ear to create the outer edge of the ear like this. There you go. We can refine the outer edge a little bit by kind of using the crease brush again, making it sharper like this. Okay. So this is the first part. Let's go into the middle because the middle needs some more work. The first thing that I want to do is I want to create a V shape. I want to dig into here. I want to dig a triangle out of the middle, sort of, I guess, a lung shape, AirPod shape, whatever. So we're going to just make a triangle that looks like this, basically. There you go. Remove this triangle. And then what I want to do is I want to go from down here, hold control again with the crease brush, and create a Y shape. The Y shape is sort of distorted, but I'm going to show you what the Y shape looks like. It's basically draw a crease from here to here, and then you can see it splits into two. And that's basically the two, I guess, arms of the Y. Here's one arm, and the other one is right there, like this. Okay. You notice there's like a weird edge here. We can get rid of it by smoothing it, or also just using the crease brush subtractively. There you go. Okay. We can see there's another edge here. We can also get rid of that one, like this. A few more things here and there to kind of fine-tune it. This sort of curve here can be quite big, so I tend to move it up a little bit, like this. Fill some more space up here. And then this Y, I guess, arm doesn't end just, you know, right there. It actually connects to the outer edge here. So we can continue it all the way to the outer edge. It sort of tucks underneath it. It's kind of hard to explain. So it would look something more like this. There you go. Okay. Smoothing everything makes it nice and organic. Okay. And now we can sort of look at the shape, refine some things here and there, the position of everything, so we can get to a nice ear shape. The ear is quite big, so I'm going to move it inwards a little bit. We also sort of lost the volume for the I guess, what is it, earlobe? Some people don't have really, I guess, big earlobes, but I kind of want to add it here. Something like that. Okay, we don't want to spend too much time on this because it's not visible in the end. But in the end, it should look something like this. Not the perfect ear. It's not the best ear that I ever sculpted, but it's an ear, and that's all that matters, okay? There you go. Oh, there's one more thing we can add, is the small little bump that we have here that is sort of poking into the middle of the ear hole. It looks like this. There you go. Okay. There's the ear, and there's the face. Okay. Kind of want to refine this a little bit more. There you go. Okay. So we have the face. We have the neck. We basically created the, I guess, yeah, we've now refined the face a little bit. What I want to do now is I want to add the sort of main characteristics of the character, which are, of course, the hair, the eyebrows, the outfit. That's what we're going to do next. What I want to do first, though, is the neck looks quite wide. So I'm just going to move it a little bit more into the middle. I think that's better. Yeah, that's better. There you go. Oh. Smooth that there. Okay. Yeah, now that we have the face, let's add the outfit and the hair. We're going to begin with the hair first. The way I like to create hair is fairly simple. I go back to the layout and I like to press Shift D to duplicate it. If you want to, you can rename it to hair. And then what I want to do is I want to go back to sculpting. No, before we go into sculpting, we need to add we want to remove everything that is below the head basically for this new mesh. So we basically created a duplicate, and for this duplicate we only want to keep the head. So we're going to add a cube, make it bigger so it fills the neck region, I guess. Okay, move it down so it covers everything, or it includes everything, it envelops everything except for the head. There you go. She's just, you know, she's sitting in this box looking outside of it. Okay, we're going to select the new hair mesh. We're going to apply a new Boolean modifier to it. And we're going to take the cube as the object. If you have problems with the Boolean modifier, maybe sometimes the mesh just disappears. Sometimes we have some weird switching or whatever. What can happen, or what can fix it, is either changing the solver to fast, or what also sometimes works is by just selecting the box, for example, pressing G and moving it around, or yeah, basically moving it around. And if you want to do it in very, very small increments, you can hold Shift to move it even slower. Okay. So now that we've used the Boolean modifier, we can apply it. Shift A. Is it Shift A? Control A, I mean. Wait. There you go. Okay. I think it lagged. It's either Shift A or Control A. I can't remember. Okay. Now that we only have the top part of the mesh for the hair mesh, we can get rid of this box again. And we can go and select the hair mesh. And we go into sculpting again. There you go. Let me drink something real quick. What's that little thing in the back of your throat? That's sort of the gag reflex. I don't remember what it's called. That's withering up, shriveling because of missing liquid. There you go. Okay. So now back into sculpting, we can see it looks just like before. So what we need to do to separate the two meshes is we need to go into the display options, and I want to change the color from material to random. And as you can see now, we can see the two different meshes. The first thing that I want to do now is I want to move the hair mesh inside of the face mesh so that we only see the face mesh, and then we can I guess pull the hair mesh back above the surface. So how we're gonna do this is fairly simple actually. What we're going to use for that is a new tool, which is called the mesh filter. Once we use the mesh filter, or we use it, but the mesh filter basically applies a certain operation to the mesh. The one we want to use is the standard, which is inflate, right here. So the settings should be standard like this. We're going to use inflate, and all we're going to do is we're going to basically left click, hold it, and move it very, very slightly to the left until it sort of disappears, the mesh. It basically moves into the other mesh. So we hold left click, move it to the left until it disappears. It looks like this. That's what we want to have. So it basically now is inside of the other mesh. Perfect. Okay. Now what we can do is we can add the hair. I think I want to begin with the eyebrows because the eyebrows are fairly simple. For the eyebrows, what we can do is, because the eyebrows are fairly fine, or I guess fine sounds weird, sort of, they're very, yeah, let's say fine, I guess is the best word. They require a certain amount of detail. I want to, only for the eyebrows, increase the dynamic topology